Good evening. We're going to call our meeting, our regular commission meeting to order. Call to order, roll call, City Clerk.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Vice Mayor McCutcheon,
Present.
Commissioner Lott,
Here.
Commissioner Watts,
Here.
Mayor Williams.
Present. Thank you. At this time, we will have our invocation by Pastor Melvin Bass. We ask that you please stand, and following, we will have our pledge to the flag.
Gracious Father, we thank you, God, for the blessings that you have bestowed upon each and every one of us that are assembled here tonight. Now, God, we invoke your presence, your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding on the matters of this agenda for the city of Fort Meade. God, we ask that you reveal your wisdom to all those that will be speaking on the items that are listed, whether it's the city council or whether it be the citizens of this city. God, we know that if you don't reveal yourself, we'll make a mistake somewhere in the process. So, God, that's why we take this opportunity at the very beginning of the meeting to invite your presence in. Now, all of these blessings we ask, in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Bass, for leading us in invocation. For those of you who do not know, Pastor Melvin Bass is the pastor of Mount Pleasant Primitive Baptist Church, and we appreciate you being here with us tonight. Thank you, sir. Okay, for those of you who do not know, and this may be your first time here, we have a sign-in sheet if you would like to speak during the public forum. We ask that you sign in before 6:05. I think the sign-up sheet is on the table. Do we have any additions and or deletions?
So, Mr. Mayor, for the commission's consideration, the item that is within my report with regard to rules and procedure, that may be an item that the commission would like to consider as a resolution. We have a resolution prepared for that item if the commission so chooses to act upon it.
Okay. Which item is that?
Which item could you reference that specifically?
Sure, that is the rules of procedure, which is item number 04 under N04, rules of conduct for city commission.
What is the will of the commission?
I can read it.
Okay. So N04 is rules of conduct for city commission. Does the commission have a thought regarding it being presented in resolution form or for discussion?
I personally don't feel that it needs to be a resolution. I think it's something that shouldn't be in there until the commissioners get together with the city manager to discuss it. When it came up to that part, that was going to be my suggestion.
Okay. Commissioner Watts?
I agree with that.
Vice Mayor McCutcheon?
Agreed.
Rules of conduct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I believe that we do annual course on this, correct?
Through the league.
Yes, if we choose to do so through the League of Cities or through the state, that's a requirement for all of us. And so there is a section in that we're required, and we take an oath that we have taken the course annually. So
It is an item that the city attorney has referenced that we don't have policy of conduct for the way that meetings are conducted. So it is an opportunity for consideration. If you want to wait till we get to that item, you can feel free when we get to that item to either make a motion or discuss it or workshop it at that point.
Okay, workshop. I prefer workshop. Thank you.
Okay, great. Can we have an action on this item once we get there?
Yes.
To that? Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. I prepared a statement before we, is there anything else, City Manager? Okay, great. Before we begin our public comments, I'd like to address everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here. I know it's a little tight. I know it's a little warm, but hanging here with us. Before we dive into the agenda, I want to share a piece of history with everyone here. In 1944, the agency that later became the CIA put out a manual on how to destroy a government. Part of the manual's advice for crippling a government or organization was to just basically do nothing. Make long-winded speeches and question every action until nothing gets done. I will not be a do-nothing mayor. And this will not be a commission that is not working for its constituents. As mayor, I am making a commitment to our great city that we will do our best to conduct the city's business in the most efficient way possible. I want to empower our city manager to lead, and hopefully we can come together as a body to support the city's success. Mr. Manager, thank you for all you've done over the past 6 weeks. I know there's been a lot happening, and I want to acknowledge you and your staff's hard work. That said, I apologize first to the residents and my colleagues on the commission. I received calls from residents, some of you all are here, looking for an agenda because it was not posted in a timely manner. I apologize. I also want to address a couple of errors. Typos are to be expected. We're all human. However, out of respect, Commissioner Michael Taylor, but jokingly, we know that your name is Commissioner Matthew Taylor. I'm sorry for the error.
No worries.
Okay, this is not an indictment on staff, but we need to be more uniform, City Manager. I would like to add the tabbing system in our agenda is a little difficult to navigate. I don't know about my colleagues, but for me, it's a little difficult to navigate. We owe our residents and business owners a higher level of consistency and efficiency. You might ask, why am I apologizing for these errors? It's because we're all in this together. We are Fort Meade, and my time here is we're going to make sure that we run on ability, our capability, reliability, and accountability. Capability, reliability, and accountability. Thank you all again for being here. And with that said, who do we have for public comments?
Barbara Arnold.
Good evening, Barbara Arnold, 624th Street. Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good evening.
Commissioners. I really don't know where to start other than the first thing I'm going to ask, Mr. Mayor, is it true that we lost the Peace River grant? I'm looking at you too, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Arnold, I am not sure. I don't know. Mr. Manager.
Sure.
Please.
At this point, we have not lost the Peace River grant.
Okay.
There is a deadline that is looming, and we have to act quickly in order to meet that deadline. But as it stands now, we have not lost the grant.
Okay, so what's going on with grants? I don't see anything being done. Patterson?
If I can, and please forgive me, I did not read the statement. Ms. Arnold, if City Manager, if I could have you get with Ms. Arnold on answering some of the questions. And again, my apology, there is a statement that I'm to read during the public forum, and I omitted reading that statement. But can you please give Ms. Arnold?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I know several people have asked about this. Downtown Main Street is ridiculous. When you pull out at either one of these, any block you pull out, you have to pull way out in order to see who's coming. I don't know what the reason was for those centerpieces. The parking, is there going to be anything done? Do we have any money to do anything with? To fix that?
City manager, again, if you wouldn't mind getting with Ms. Arnold, so that we can address those concerns, I would appreciate it.
Absolutely. Sure.
I would like to end it by saying everybody wonders what's going on with Fort Meade and why we're not able to do anything with Fort Meade, to fix anything in Fort Meade. What really needs to be fixed is in the administration, because I think people are up here making way too much money and not doing their job. And they need to be accountable for that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Arnold. If we can pause before the next person is called, and it'll allow me to read the statement. Under public forum, each person addressing the commission shall sign in with the city clerk no later than 6:05. Persons shall step up to the microphone, shall give his or her name and address in an audible tone of voice for the record, and unless further time is granted by the commission, shall limit their address to 3 minutes. All remarks shall be addressed to the commission as a body and not to any member thereof. No person other than the members of the commission having the floor shall be permitted to enter into any discussion, either directly or through the members of the commission. Thank you.
Wanda Whitehurst.
Good evening, Wanda Whitehurst, 850 Southeast Pine. I'll try to be brief with 3 minutes. I've been in Fort Meade for 73 years, my entire life. I was born in Bartow, but I lived in Fort Meade at the time with my parents. I'd first like to start out by saying thank you to Mr. Bell. Thank you for addressing our community like it has never been done before on last evening. You were professional and very knowledgeable. You displayed a sense of concern and compassion for the residents of our city. That seemed to be very important. As residents, we don't care how much you know until we know how much you care. We thank you for that. To Mayor Jared Landon Williams and your team, we thank you for bringing a platform where the residents can be heard, where we can truly express our honest opinion. We're not judged on what we say or what we do, but you all recognize that everyone that spoke, everything they said was valuable and important. For that, we thank you. And we also thank your staff for working with you, because we know you didn't do it alone, Mr. Bell. As Fort Meade residents, we realize that we need unity. And we realize unity comes with the cost. And believe me, in this city, it's going to come with the great cost. But we're prepared. We're ready. We're ready to join the fight with you, the commission. But as residents, we want to know that you have our back and you care about the things that concern us. I pray daily for the city of Fort Meade that God will unite this commission. Remove the hate, the envy, the jealousy, and the division that may exist. Prayer is the key, but faith unlocks the door. I have faith in you all. I have the faith that you five will do what's important to us. Don't let us down. If you are not a part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You don't want to be a part of the old age existing problems that are here in the city of Fort Meade. While I genuinely love all people, I have a special love, a special sacrificial love for the residents of the city of Fort Meade. Let's unite in this fight for better, the fight for change, and the fight for prosperity for all. Let us remember that God is the source of all of our strength. Let us get stronger together starting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wires. Thank you. Who do we have next?
Heather Grant.
Hi, Heather Grant, 901 First Street Northeast. I wanted to thank you gentlemen for having the town hall last night and the rest of you who came to the forum last week. That was, I thought, very informative, and I'm sure you've seen the presentations, but some of this will be a repeat, but it's for you too. We watched Stonebridge's presentation. They talk a great game, but there are a few contradictions. They've, in their proposal, promised about 200 less acres, 1163 acres, now it's 1330. They promised over 1,100 jobs, long-term jobs, now it's 450, then down to 50 for actual long-term. They also, even though we had emailed them to get specifics, they could not provide one example of a successful story. And we've all seen all of the horror stories out there. Water usage is a concern. We're tonight talking about the Polk Regional Water Cooperative to join that. And last night it came up in discussions that with being in a co-op, we're joining it because we don't have enough water for our community now. Even at if they reduce the rate of the data center's usage, if we reach capacity, we can't grow. It's going to use more than a decent-sized grocery store, and we could use that a lot more. We're, I believe, still a USDA food desert. We need to do an independent environmental impact study on our own, because I know from personally knowing someone who does them for corporations, the one they hire will say whatever they want them to say. Within our city limits, so our responsibility for fire and emergency, are we equipped for that? Since we don't get paid till the first building's done, how are we going to afford overseeing all of that and having the experts that we need to do that? I'm almost out of time. He alluded to the fact that we would be policing him on sticking to everything. Well, they put fines into their cost of doing business. And since we won't get money until the first building's done, and it's 4 to 7 years, all of you are up for re-election before that money comes in. And so just something to think about the work. We don't want to be stuck with a problem and have that be your legacy, to have I-4 eyesore sitting above Fort Meade or something that poisons us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Raul Alfonso.
Raul Alfonso, 313 South Orange. And as it's been said, we do appreciate you guys showing up and listening to us talk about the data center. When I started this whole thing, I saw the things that really concerned me and got me to the point where I am right now. And I really don't want to be doing this. I would much rather be offering the services of the people that have been speaking out against this, trying to educate you on what we have found out. I'd like to offer you them in exchange to find a development that will actually do something for the community and be beneficial to everybody in the community. Not just another mining service that's going to be pulling our resources and using them up and throwing out little bits of tidbits for the city to get. The community gets nothing out of it, except possibly very harmful effects on our health and our well-being in general. I would much rather see all of our energies put into finding something that we can do for the city, make the city a better place, because I'm afraid that if this goes through, we end up turning into basically a political action group that is trying to replace everybody that put this in. And I don't want to do that. I really don't. I would much rather work with you guys and make this place what everybody dreams it to be. And we're not talking about the big shiny city on the hill. We're talking about a Fort Meade that you're proud of and that serves us all. I'm not going to need a full 3 minutes. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's because doom and gloom, you've already heard that. That's everything that we have seen, we've put out there for you. We've tagged you in it. We've sent it to you in emails. It's there. You know it. So I don't need to repeat it again. I thank you again. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Ken Webb.
Mr. Well, before you begin, because I'm seeing one of our community members in the hallway and having to sit. So let me address the audience. I apologize again, because what we talked about before is accountability, that we have residents who are in the hallway and cannot be seated here in the commission chambers. It is wrong, and it is something that we must address. City manager, there are resources that exist so that this does not have to continue. So to anyone who is in the hallway and you don't have somewhere to sit, or you're sitting on the floor, on behalf of the city, I apologize, and we're going to get this right. All right, thank you, Mr. Wood.
Whoever it is, they can have my seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Ken Webb, 814 North Church Avenue here in Fort Meade. And I'm coming up to make a statement, and I have a question. And Mayor Williams, you already heard the question last night.
Yes.
Mr. Bell, you've already heard that. Yes, but when I asked the principal, whoever, I forget his name, I think Feinberg, whatever, did they do an environmental assessment of the site? He told me, looked me straight in the eyes, said no. To me, that's not a very good procedure, because we're building something that's 4.4 million square feet, 8 buildings, possible, what was it, a power plant was mentioned last night. Let's see, what else? Substation, water usage. Do they even know what's out there on that land? Is it a wetland? Are there any endangered species that happen to move into that area after mining was done 40 years ago? And if there has been an environmental assessment done, can we, the public, see that environmental assessment before y'all vote on it? And I'm backing up what Ms. Grant said. We're concerned about our environment. On a personal level, this town is, the wildlife around here is very beautiful, and we do not want to see that wildlife go away. I have family members that are hunters. Building the data center at the Florida Wildlife Corridor's border may change the migration patterns of the animals that they hunt. That's one of my big concerns. The other concerns we can address at a later time, but thank you very much for listening. Thank you for having the event last night and the event on January 29, where we got to speak out either for or against the center. So thank you for having us, and wish you a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ben Spate.
Ben Spate, 613 Northeast 3rd Street. I learned last night that the data center project has been on the table for about 18 months. And I've said numerous times that we need to have some experts that are employed by the city who are impartial, that will either confirm the negative things that the public is bringing out or disallow that. We've got to have our own people, and I don't know that we have anybody in Polk County that can do that. I'm sure that, I don't know that we have anybody in Fort Meade that can do that. We also have to have somebody that can negotiate a contract And I would address the attorney, maybe she should mention later on or at some point, what kind of person would you hire to make sure that we're protected if we do this? I am neither at this point for or against. The money sounds terrific. It says we can do lots of things, okay? But the damage, if it's true, could hurt a lot of things. So if it's been 18 months and we're still sitting on this, we need to get busy, okay? I've heard several people talk about, even last night, about a grocery store. My opinion is it'd be really nice, but until we have 20,000 to 25,000 people in this city, we are not going to get a Publix. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Take a bit.
Pastor Melvin Bass.
I think you just.
Oh. Okay. All right, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to item F, proclamations, presentations, awards, reports. We have a plaque to commemorate Commissioner James Possum Shell. We ask that his family will come up. You all come up here and I'll read it. Yeah, we have room. If there's more family, please come up. We can wrap around. We have room. Yes, there we go. Okay. First, I want to say thank you all for being here tonight. This is an honor for me and for the commission and for the city of Fort Meade. I'll read what the plaque says and then I'll share if I may. This is a plaque in love and memory of James Possum Shell for his outstanding service to the city of Fort Meade. I want to share that most of you who knew, who we called affectionately Possum, love this city deeply. I don't know that there was a bigger champion for the city of Fort Meade. From a very personal standpoint and way, when I was campaigning to run for the seat, I stopped by the house and we had a short conversation. After a short disagreement, he welcomed me into your home. What I thought was going to be a 5-minute conversation, I ended up staying for an hour and a half. And that's just the kind of heart that he had. We were able to discuss our disagreements, but fully agree on how deeply we love Fort Meade. And I want you to know that your husband, your father, your brother, know that he was deeply loved. He is missed, and we pray that you all will keep his memory alive. Thank you. Thank you.
If you would stay for a photograph.
Yes. Yes.
And the rest of the commission.
Okay. But do you have any words you'd like to share?
No, just that he was, like I was saying, he definitely was very, very devoted to the city and to the people in the city and to everybody. He would do anything for them.
Absolutely.
He would answer any phone call, let anybody in
Indeed.
to talk to.
Indeed. Okay.
Anybody.
Okay. Can we roll this over?
And I appreciate this very much. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, I don't know how to do
have
this.
to help us to tell us what you need to do.
Okay.
So for clarity, you've already gotten the pictures of the family, and now you need you want permission to be okay. All right. Thank you.
Where to go?
You stay still, and then we're going to foul in around.
Hey, Tim. I'm good. I'm sorry, Michael.
Yeah. Can we give a round of applause again? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. What's your?
I'm working. I'm gonna get it for you.
I know.
I always do. She likes the floor.
So it's not a clock fight. Okay. We're going to move on to our next proclamation. And today we have members from the Martin King Scholarship, from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Scholarship Foundation. And I'll read the proclamation. City of Fort Meade, Florida proclamation. Whereas Black History Month is observed annually in February and serves as a time to recognize, honor, and celebrate the many achievements, contributions, and sacrifices of African Americans throughout the history of the United States. And whereas African Americans have played a vital role in shaping the social, cultural, economic, educational, and political foundations of this nation, often overcoming significant barriers to advance freedom, justice, and equality for all. And whereas the contributions of African Americans are deeply woven into the history of Florida and the city of Fort Meade, enriching the community through leadership, service, entrepreneurship, education, faith, military service, arts, and civic engagement. And whereas Black History Month provides an opportunity to reflect upon the enduring legacy of resilience, perseverance, and excellence demonstrated by African Americans while fostering great understanding, unity, and respect within our community. And whereas the city of Fort Meade is committed to promoting diversity, equity, inclusion, and mutual respect, and recognizes that understanding our shared history, strengths, and community inspires future generations. And whereas the observance of Black History Month encourages all residents to learn about and celebrate the historical and contemporary contributions of African Americans and to continue working toward a more just and inclusive society. Now, therefore, I, Jarrett Landon Williams, Mayor of the City of Fort Meade, on behalf of City Commission, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2026 as Black History Month in the City of Fort Meade, Florida, and encourage all residents, schools, businesses, churches, and civic organizations to observe this month through appropriate programs, activities, and educational opportunities that honor the legacy and contributions of African Americans. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, to be affixed on this 10th day of February 2026. Thank you. What I'd like to say on a personal note, and then I ask that you share some words. The work of the Martin Luther King Foundation has been the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Foundation, the work that they've been doing is decades long. It has impacted so many lives, but there may be those of you here who don't know about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Foundation. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a few words.
Good evening. My name is Maurice Campbell. I'm the president of the Dr. Martin Luther King Scholarship Committee. But this year, we are actually in the process of changing our Dr. Martin Luther King Scholarship Committee to our matriarch that was over this committee, to Ms. Dora Johnson Scholarship Committee. So the name will be changed into Ms. Dora Johnson Scholarship Committee. She has been committed to this work for 40 odd years. She's been doing a parade for 30 years. We have given many scholarships to African American students that are going on to further their education. And on behalf of the Martin Luther King Scholarship Committee, we extend a sincere thanks for you recognizing the mayor and the city fellow commissioners, for you all recognizing the work that the Dr. Martin Luther King Scholarship Committee does. And on again, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Thanks again.
Thank you. That was a mouthful. That was a mouthful.
Okay, moving right along, we have a presentation from the Polk Regional Water Cooperative presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And unfortunately, the presentation was originally going to be done by an individual that wasn't able to make it. So
Okay.
Miss Mary Thomas, is it? Is going to fill in and make the presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. Eric DeHaven is the Executive Director of Polk Regional. He's traveling out of town, so you're stuck with me this evening. I'm Mary Thomas. I'm a consultant to the cooperative. Next slide, please. I'll start with an overview of who the PRWC is and what we've been up to for the past decade. PRWC is made up of Polk County and 15 of the municipal governments within it. They were formed in 2016 with a goal of identifying alternative water supply sources, ensuring sustainable water resources, determining the infrastructure needs for those projects, and meeting future demands within Polk County. This all started back, it predates 2012 when the water management districts indicated that there wasn't enough traditional water supply to meet the growing demands of the community. Traditional water supplies mean the Upper Floridan. Nearly every public supplier in all of Central Florida relies on a single aquifer system for its potable supplies. Those supplies are limited. In 2016, the cooperative formed to address long-term issues with water supply. They selected projects to study and advance. And in 2022, the cooperative members, including the city of Fort Meade, who is a member of the Polk Regional Water Cooperative, signed on to implementation agreements to move forward with design and construction of 2 alternative water supply projects. Those projects are the Southeast and the West Polk Wellfield projects. One is under construction and one is in final design. The cooperative has invested $115 million so far in the advancement of these projects. There is a funding and financing program in place for the projects, and we expect water to flow from the Southeast project in 2028 and from the West Polk project in 2032. Next slide. While it was 2012 or prior to that the water management districts announced that there was a water supply issue, it was the Central Florida Water Initiative rule adopted by the Florida legislature in 2021 that codified the restrictions. That rule says that no additional water can be pumped from the Upper Floridan system, meaning whatever is being pumped in 2025, it's flatlining. There's no more. If there's more of a water need, it needs to come from some other alternative water supply source. For Polk County, there's an additional 32 million gallons needed every single day by 2045 to sustain demands. So everything beyond the 2025 Upper Floridan threshold needs to be sought through other projects. Next slide. The 2022 agreements that were signed to advance the 2 projects towards construction, design and construction, codify or outline which of the members will receive water and how much of the project they will pay. The table shown on the screen to the right shows the participating members in the Southeast Agreement, meaning these are the members who have signed on and asked for water. Their payment into the program is directly correlated to the percentage of water that they will get from the program. These are participating members. They've committed to advancing the capital cost expenditure to get water. There's another layer of membership called associate member. Fort Meade is an associate member. That simply means they're a party to the agreement, and should they wish to receive water from the cooperative, they have that right to advance to a participating level. Next slide. The main project that we talk about today is the Southeast Wellfield. We talk a lot about it because it's under construction. You can see it. It's in Lake Wales, and the pipeline is pretty much all over Polk County. The project itself is a lower fluoride and brackish supply, so it is an alternative water supply. And because it's brackish, it's going to require a reverse osmosis treatment to bring it up to potable standards. There will be 5 wells drilled into the lower Floridan aquifer that will supply water to the plant through 6 miles of raw water transmission. 61 miles of pipeline will be laid across Polk County to deliver the finished potable water to the participating members. There's an injection well required to inject the brine concentrate down into the deep zones of the aquifer system. And the entire Southeast Wellfield price tag is $589 million. That's a very high price tag, but that is construction, design, program management, land acquisition, permitting. It's all in. The cooperative is brand new. They're just starting. They have no staff. They have no revenue. This is all in. This is what it takes to get a brand new agency and project started. The good news is, so far the cooperative has secured $211 million in grants towards that price tag. Next slide. The rendering to the left is what the plant will look like once it's constructed. Again, that's along Walk-in Water Road. You can see construction right now. The map to the right shows the extent of the 61-mile pipeline, where the pipeline stretches northwards towards Davenport and then westwards towards Bartow, with several drop-off points along the way to the participating members. We expect substantial completion to be in 2028. Next slide. Once again, PRWC is a brand new agency. There is no revenue source. So at present, the cooperative is funded entirely by grants and by loans. They've secured a federal WIFIA loan, state SRF loans, district grants, state appropriations, all to pay for the $796 million investment that covers all projects: West Polk, Southeast, administration, conservation, and everything under the PRWC umbrella. Next slide. Every year, the PRWC publishes a business plan. The table shown on the screen right now is the summary that comes out of the 2026 business plan that was presented to the PRWC board last month and will be presented again in March. This summarizes each of the members' long-term costs through 2036. And you'll note for Fort Meade is not a participating member in an infrastructure project. So compared to the other members, Fort Meade's annual costs are rather low. Next slide. Should Fort Meade decide that water supply from the cooperative is an appropriate next step, the process is delineated within the Southeast Implementation Agreement. The city would first put in writing to the Polk Regional Water Cooperative Board a request for some allocation. That allocation is subject to availability depending on where we are in construction and how much the other members have taken. At that point in time, any of the costs incurred to date would need to be paid for by the city at its proportionate share, depending on how much water it's taking. So all members pay based on the amount of water that they take. Again, it's subject to water availability. We have heard from the city of Davenport that they do wish to lower their allocation amount, so we suspect there is water available, but that's subject to board decision. And for distribution of water supply to this city, we do expect that it would come from a virtual pipeline concept instead of building brand new pipeline from the nearest connection point all the way to Fort Meade, not Ford Meade, Fort Meade, it would come in the by way of one member would reduce their upper Floridan pumpage so that Fort Meade could increase their pumpage. So we call it a virtual pipeline. It simply balances the upper Floridan pumpage. Next slide. My last slide. This is my very last slide, and then I'll stand for questions. Again, Fort Meade is currently an associate, and to advance to a participant, you would need to submit a water allocation. What we've done with this slide is estimating the cost to Fort Meade should you request 500,000 gallons per day of water. This is just an example. The project costs to date, plus a 2.5% surcharge. Surcharges are placed on all members that did not sign on to be participants once the agreement was initially executed. We estimated last fall that cost would be $180,000. Fort Meade would also need to pay the fiscal year 2026 share of that of the water supply cost, which is $125,000. Cost to connect would need to be assessed. Again, today we are assuming that a virtual pipeline concept would work and be permittable, but we don't know that. So that would need to be studied and evaluated. And then in terms of long-term costs, annual costs through the foreseeable future, what we've done here is we've placed the city of the town of Lake Hamilton's costs. Lake Hamilton is a participating members at a rate of 500,000 gallons per day at an equivalent amount because the costs are incurred at the rate of water supply. This is a very good estimate of what the annual cost would be for the city of Fort Meade. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions you all may have.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the commission?
Me too.
Yeah.
You probably figured. you heard enough of my questions.
I've heard many of them, but I'm happy to take more.
And explain a little further on the virtual pipeline.
Yes.
Now, when we go and say of course, I understand the concept. They'll give the rights up. We'll get to pump more money. Is it going to cost us?
So the cost, yes and no. So we need to evaluate the exact costs. The assumption today is that virtual pipeline would be the least cost option if it's permittable. There would be additional permitting costs associated with determining whether or not that's feasible and permittable. I believe the implementation agreement, and I'm not the attorney for Polk Regional, so this needs to be validated, but I do believe that becomes a cooperative cost. Once Fort Meade signs on and pays all historical costs, the cost to add Fort Meade to the project, I believe, becomes a cost of the cooperative and therefore split. So yes, that is an additional cost, but whether it is a Fort Meade cost or a cooperative cost would need to be clarified.
Both ways over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard both ways.
Yes. Yeah.
Is at one time we're going to pay what it would cost to buy water.
I'm sorry?
What would it cost to buy water? Even if we pumped it ourselves, like if they pumped it to the southeast, you sell water to somebody, we might have to pay more for it, or
if you pumped it to someone else, if the
well field went somewhere else with water.
If we expanded the well field, so if we expanded the well field, the unit cost comes down.
Okay.
Because phase one is extremely expensive because it's a brand new plant, brand new pipeline, brand new everything. As soon as we begin to expand the plant, the incremental cost is much smaller. So I would presume on a dollar per kgal basis, the cost begins to come down. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. But at this time, there's no pipeline planned for Fort Meade.
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask a couple of quick questions. Showing the 2025 water allotment, or I'm sorry, the 2045 water allotment is at 100%. So
Yes.
are we dependent upon the
someone else giving up their water.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And the alternative, if we remain an associate member, for us getting water comes from where then?
If there's no water available in phase 1, I believe the option is to request an expansion of phase 2, which would free up more water. If we advanced from the 7.5 MGD phase 1 capacity, we can advance the plant to 10 MGD or more, which would free up more water. That becomes a board decision. The board would all have to decide to advance to those larger capacities, and that cost would be shared amongst the members.
And is phase 2 promised at this point, or is it actual? It's real?
Phase 2 is implied by the layout of the facility and the capacity of the pipelines, and the implementation agreement itself indicates that 16.3 MGD will be developed by 2045. So it is definitely implied, but there are currently no contracts in place to design or construct the facilities.
So I'll say it as simply as I can. We're already behind the 8 ball on this project. If
you want water right now, it'll take some time to get there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we have any more questions? No? Okay. I think that's it. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very
Great. We have item F4 RFQ 2026-03 Engineering Services.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask Ms. Guffey to come up to present on this item.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and
Good evening.
Commissioners, staff and residents. I don't have a full presentation, but I have some great news. So later on the agenda, we are going to hear that we have been awarded a 100% grant. That grant requires us to go out for CCNA under the Florida statute. So in an effort to just make sure that we did transparency with you, we wrote a whole CCNA proposal. And tomorrow, if everything goes great tonight, tomorrow we would like to go out for advertisement. The advice that we have been given is to hire or retain multiple engineering firms so that we do not have to do this again, and we can pick from a selection as we get different grants. We also, at the request of Mr. Bell, we wrote the proposal so that we could also include stormwater and I forgot the other one. What is the other one? Streets, parks, streets and roads. Sorry. So we wrote the proposal so that it covers all city services so that we would not have to go back out for another engineering CCNA should the dollar amount of the grant require us to. And then we would have all of those engineering firms' qualifications already ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you. I think, and we'll hear from you in just a little bit again.
You could possibly hear from me, but there is a presenter here as well if you want to hear from her.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item G, consent agenda. Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna say that I believe the items that Ms. Evelyn were just referring to are under the consent agenda.
Correct.
So we would need to pull those from the consent agenda to speak on them and discuss it.
If you wanted to speak on them and discuss it, you would, and we should have done that under additions and deletions, but if you want to discuss those items, then
Yeah, I didn't know there was a presenter that had come to give us the information during additions and deletions, but
sure. And it's only if you had questions, somebody that was here to be able to respond to those questions. I wanted to make sure that we covered all the contingencies.
Okay. So Commissioner Lott, would you like to remove any of the items for discussion under consent agenda?
yes, sir, I would like to remove items 2 and 3.
Okay. For the rest of the commission, are there any items that you'd like to be removed? Okay, I'd like to remove item G04 for discussion. So if we could have a motion regarding removing these items.
I'll make a motion to remove 2, 3, and 4 on
Second.
the consent agenda.
Second.
Sorry, where are we moving it to? I'd like for us to move it to, and then we're adding numbers. So if we could have items 2, 3, and 4 move to H, and H, if that could be H.
6, 7, and 8.
Yes, 6, 7, and 8.
Thank you. All right. So if we could state that motion again. Mr.
So I make a my brain just burped motion to remove and move to H 2, 3, and 4. Move it to H and make it H 6, 7, and 8.
Second.
What? We're moving 2, 3, and 4. G 2, 3, and 4. And we're moving it to H 6, 7, and 8.
Great. So we have it for the record. All right. So we restated. Do we have a second?
So second.
There we go. Just for clerical accurateness, we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it.
Now, before proceeding to the next step, you would want a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Absolutely. So can I have a motion to regarding the remaining items left in the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda items G1 and G5.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, ayes have it. Great. Moving on to item H01, Resolution R 2026-08, approval of Paylocity.
Paylocity.
Thank you. Service agreement. Thank you.
Although I like Payload City.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, approving the Paylocity Payroll and Human Capital Management Services Agreement subject to specified legal conditions, providing for governing law, venue, and sovereign immunity, authorizing execution, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Manager.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like our Human Resources and Risk Manager, Ms. Nelson, to present to you on that item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Mayor, Commission. The city currently utilizes CertaPay for payroll processing and human capital management services, which includes payroll, time and attendance, and employee data management. CertaPay was implemented in 2014 with bare bones implementation. The HRIS was never fully configured, so basic functionality is cumbersome, reporting is rudimentary, and cross-functional data transmission is virtually non-existent. HR is still far too paper-based to make a convincing argument for why CertaPay still meets our needs. It does not. Key modules were not purchased or implemented, like the onboarding module, the performance module, and the self-service portal is laughable. Employees can enter changes to addresses or W-4 information in the self-service portal, but those changes are routed to nowhere. Recently, payroll and I found some self-service tasks in CertaPay that were just sitting in the abyss since early last year. Broken business processes do not comply with operational best practices. By the way, the recruiting module, which is called Applicant Pool, and the timekeeping system, which is called Timeco, are third-party add-ons, each with their own monthly cost, which you can see in the cost comparison, which is included in your materials. What we will get from Paylocity is a 100% cloud-based solution that provides increased functionality, which directly supports our needs as a small organization. Payroll will have much more functionality and be a lot less cumbersome. The timekeeping functionality takes the needs of the employee into account and streamlines the processes so that time tracking and entering leave are not like pulling teeth. Payroll staff will no longer be required to manually add in leave time, which is what's happening now under the current system. And let's not overlook those HR functions not configured in our system. Onboarding, performance management, for example. They are included in the Paylocity packet, not a la carte. The recommended solution moves the city in the direction it needs to go operationally at a reduced cost. The entire life cycle of the employee is covered. And with less than 60 employees, the city of Fort Meade can ride the wave into the future without breaking the bank to do so. Plus, it's completely scalable. So as we grow, it grows with us. During the review of the Paylocity agreement, the city attorney identified provisions related to venue, governing law, and jurisdiction that conflicts with the city's charter and code. Also, it requires the city attorney retain authority over jurisdictional matters and that disputes involving the city be governed by Florida law and venue. That is the question that brings this matter to you today. The language in the subscription agreement that addresses jurisdiction. Therefore, I'll turn it over to our city attorney to discuss this jurisdictional matter and the proposed solution to this matter, if you so approve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
City Attorney, do you have comments prepared?
I think I spoke with each one of you about it already today. Do you have any questions for me?
I do not.
Okay, well, the motion states expressly what would need to happen in order for you all to be able to override this provision in contract to enter into agreement that's outside of Florida. So you need to make sure that's expressed in the motion that you read.
Great. Granted that there are no further questions, do we have a motion?
Oh, I apologize. Thank you for the presentation, Ms. Nelson. Very thorough. I know you compared it to CertaPay. Is Paylocity, how should I phrase it? Is this the only agency that fits the needs of the organization, or are there other similar agencies out there within the state that provide the same service?
There are.
Okay.
There are other options available. We looked at Tyler Muni at the request of the city manager. They are fairly new to the HRIS game. They've been doing it on the financial side for a long time. So, you know, in terms of cost, they're still somewhat a la carte. So we'd be entering the same sort of agreement where we purchase just those modules separately versus in a packet.
Yeah.
Other systems that are comparable to Paylocity are much more robust and were not originally configured for smaller agencies. I personally have looked at others like Bamboo HR, systems like that. I came from a Workday system.
Oh, gotcha.
Right? That's a Rolls-Royce system. There's no way the city needs something like that. And so this is as scaled down towards Toyota as we can get.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
And it represents a cost savings for us.
Right. Absolutely cost savings annually.
Right. Right. And so being that it's contractually out of the state, do we foresee any, I guess you can't predict issues. And this is what, 30-day contract?
It's month to month. But the subscription itself is written as an annual subscription.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So can I ask a question on that? So if we needed to, if we found that there was an issue, our exposure really is only 30 days. Is that correct? Madam
Attorney?
City Attorney?
I won't say our exposure is only 30 days. What I would say is the risk could be seen as minimal because I don't know how much you could dispute over within something that comes up within 30 days.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I think it bears noting, I won't put names out there, but there's a city in South Florida who's had the system for 14 years under these same contract terms, and a jurisdiction issue has never risen thus far.
I'm sorry, I have to follow up with that. With also, their attorneys did not know that that contract had been entered into and was governed outside of the state of Florida. So that's why this is before you, because I cannot recommend that. This is something that you can waive, though. It's not like sovereign immunity limits where you cannot waive it. So I just do need to state that too.
And I believe what I had mentioned earlier, just so that it's on the record, when I asked, because we have so many public records requests in this town, if it is the data going to be available as a Florida under the Florida Sunshine Law, or are we going to have to pay extra since it's from another? You're getting the data from another state.
No, the data resides here. The data belongs to us.
So whatever the city has in its possession, the city would have to produce to comply with the Sunshine State rules, Sunshine Law.
Okay.
I would like to go back to Counselor, but you said about the out-of-state contract, we could waive it or
Well,
clarify that again.
so right now, as it is, it states that this would be governed up under another state's law, not Florida law.
Right. If we had any disputes.
We had disputes. Okay.
Any further questions? I heard you all chuckle. It's not, we as a community are the Rolls Royce or John Deere. Okay, I don't want you all to think that the implication is that we are the Toyota. Okay.
Toyotas are very reliable.
Okay.
Just referring to systems, not
And Ms.
the
Nelson,
community. Yes.
The cloud would be considered AI. Is that correct?
Well, you know, they're all creative now where they are AI capable, like the Autobot capability that can be configured. And so, like it or not, we're here in the AI world.
Right.
And, you know, I love that through the Autobot, we're able to push out messaging. And so that's going to be very beneficial for both payroll and HR for being able to send direct messagings about W-2s and 1099s and all that kind of stuff through the system that are not cumbersome and paper-based.
Okay. I think I had an Autobot when I was a kid.
Before moving forward, Mr. Manager, we want to give the public an opportunity if anyone would like to comment on this item. And please come to the podium and state your name and address. Thank you.
Missy Rainey, 4230 US Highway 17. I currently work for a company that uses Paylocity. It's top notch. Been there 5 years, never had an issue. We are 750 employees, so it can do a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else? Okay. Great. Granted that there's no one else. Mr. Manager, do you have any comments?
So I was just going to add what I like about it, and kudos to Ms. Nelson for doing a thorough job in investigating alternatives and assessing the value add to our city. But what I really loved about it is it created additional opportunity for us to have more accountability for the time usage of our employees. And so, although I did ask her to take a look at Tyler Muni, it was because I wanted to make sure that we covered all of our bases. But I am thoroughly impressed with this opportunity, and I think it will improve our capability as well as reduce our costs.
Great, thank you. Are there any further questions? Great. Do we have a motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the agreement as presented, acknowledging that the agreement does not include a Florida governing law provision and determining that the approval is in the best interest of the city.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Moving on to item H02, Resolution R 2026-10, approval of sub-recipient agreement between the City of Fort Meade and Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corporation, Inc.
Give me one moment and then I'll read the title out if I can find it, but I don't seem to have it in my packet. I know it's in here somewhere, but I don't see it.
Okay.
It's a purple tab if that.
Mine is not tab at all. Which is okay.
Mine.
So, Mr. Manager,
Time,
yes.
if one of you could give me your resolution, then I could read it.
While you're doing that,
Here it comes.
okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, authorizing a sub-recipient agreement between the City of Fort Meade and the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corporation Incorporated, TBBIC, to develop and implement the City of Fort Meade Small Business Assistance Grant Program funded through the Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus CDBG-CV program, approving program guidelines subject to Florida Commerce approval, providing limited authorization to execute documents consistent with Florida Commerce approval, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In order to go over this item, I'm going to ask our Finance Director, Tim Harrison, to present to you. We also have in the audience a representative from the company that we are entering, if you approve it, sub-recipient agreement.
Thank you. Tim?
Good evening. I have to say, whenever I have an opportunity in front of a microphone, I want to tell one of my really bad dad jokes.
Oh,
But I will refrain tonight. I will not do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you're all terribly disappointed. So what we're talking about is the sub-recipient agreement between the City of Fort Meade and the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corporation. And I will say, for one, whenever I do the TBB, I usually leave out the third B, but the correct is T, 3 Bs, I see. At the January 13th meeting, the commission authorized the development of the Small Business Assistance Grant Program and setting aside 1.1 million of the total 5 million fund to provide grants to qualified small businesses. So it's been a cooperative effort between city staff, TBB, IC staff, and Fred Fox personnel. So again, we're talking about 1.1 million of the 5 million total grant that was available. So a lot of information that can be shared about the specifics of the program. Important to note that it's going to be done first come, first serve, beginning March 1st. To be eligible for the use of funds, we'll take the applications beginning March 1st. Applications will be accepted first come, first serve. To be eligible for the grant, the funds must be used for rent, mortgage payments, utilities, payroll expenses, working capital, or inventory merchandise. So there are several ways that interested parties can qualify. There are pretty strict guidelines in terms of the businesses that are not eligible, some of which I think would be pretty obvious, things like liquor stores, adult bookstores. So some would not be eligible.
the grant limit currently would max at 250,000, and that was kind of a deliberate limit that we set on it because we're somewhat running out of time. And the concern was if we tried to do 100 at 10,000 each, there simply wouldn't be enough time. So we needed kind of a mix of some that may be larger businesses with larger opportunities and some that would be smaller businesses. But one of the things that has to be satisfied is the LMI requirement that opportunities are presented to low to moderate income people. So as the city manager said, we have a representative from TBBIC, James Randolph. I don't know if you'd like to come up and add a few words.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Mayor, commissioners, staff, citizens. I would like to add a few comments there. I'm actually delivering a very similar contract with the city of Lakeland. As a matter of fact, you have at least 4 of your residents who have been driving over to Lakeland to attend my Wednesday night sessions. And these sessions primarily to help them better understand their business model. I will say that Albert Lee, who's the president of the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corp, and I'll turn this way and say a small B on black. Because as soon as that is said, I can feel the body language shift. And so this is for all the residents and the citizens who, before they qualify. What I would like to do as we move forward so that the recruitment aspect, the conversation is being held, is I would like to suggest that we do a couple of, I'm going to say, town halls, large tents, big tents, of everybody who's interested, so that we can get all of that information out at the same time. And I'm interested in doing that twice, maybe on the back-to-back Saturdays, just in case. So I will be the one doing that. And so I will do that on those 2 Saturdays just to make sure that the citizenry understand what we're doing. All right? So I can stand for any questions because I've done this for a while. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Before, because I know there are questions, I can feel them. City Manager, did you have any other additional comments you'd like to add?
Sure, I'd like to add that the range of grants that we're talking about in this resolution is from 10,000 up to 250,000. So people would be entities or people would be eligible for grants as low as 10,000 or as high as 250,000. Okay. For this engagement. And this is very similar to what we're doing, what the city is already doing, what we're doing with regard to help and providing utility assistance. We enter into an agreement with a partner that manages the process and the program, works with us in order to make sure that we get those services out to the community. This is a similar agreement with Tampa Bay BBIC. It is a partnership in order to make sure that we get these services out. It's part of the grant program of the $5 million and the allocation that you put together for that.
Great. Thank you. What I may have you do is just slide over a little bit in the case. Do we have any residents who have any questions or comments or like to come up at this time? Please.
All right, I'll be back.
No. You stay put. Stay put. I saw a hand.
Wanda Whitehurst, 850 Southeast Pine. So for the residents that want to qualify for the program, we would have to present our applications to the BBIOC. Okay, thank you. And then they would process all the necessary information and get back to us on our eligibility and et cetera.
City Manager?
That's correct.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. Do we have any additional questions from anyone here?
Yeah, just one additional thing I'd like to add.
Okay.
People have been inquiring about the loan program. This is not a loan. People are asking about repaying the loan.
Right.
It's a grant.
Okay.
It's a grant.
Right. Did you all hear that? Okay, I didn't think you did. What was clarified is this is not a loan program. This is a grant program, which means you are not paying the money back. Okay? Now, I know we have questions here. Commissioner.
I've been doing some studying on small towns that have built themselves up. Seneca, South Carolina, Paducah, Kentucky, some other, and it seems that arts programs seem to assist in that. Would that type of thing, artists and things, be covered by this, or is it just strictly a business? Or
I really would like to defer to the city manager on that because I have my opinions about it, but I'd rather for your city manager to address it.
So there are series of eligibility requirements.
Okay.
And so the particular engagement that you're talking about would qualify under those eligibility requirements if they were interested in starting a business.
Correct.
If they were interested in staffing, themselves being the first staff member, up to 5 staff members, if I'm not mistaken, with the requirements. So yes, that would.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any other commissioners' questions?
One other question I have. I know you talked about making yourself available on Saturdays to get the word out. In addition to that, do you have any type of media, print, that we as commissioners or members of the city or community organizations that may want to assist with getting the word out? Unfortunately, in Fort Meade, not everybody has social media.
Understand.
And even, I know a lot more of our elderly, but even some of our younger individuals. So print media goes a long way here in our city. And so I would appreciate, even if it's just something small with the basic criteria to say to get in the door, maybe with the date of when one of your training sessions are.
Understand. Madam Vice Mayor, yes, we do have available print media. The question that I have is how would we route that? Who should we route that to for the distribution? Because I've talked to some of your residents in regards to who are the principal places or where are the principal places where people gather and congregate.
Right.
And so if you would direct and let me know that. And am I correct that the application will be on the city's website if it's already up there? My email address is there, my telephone number. I am the catchman for that. So I would be that point of contact and primarily the one that's delivering most of the services.
Right. I don't want to misspeak, but I would hope that because we already have a partnership with our chamber, that they would be a partner in making sure that information is available for those who come in as well as our library. And then we have a couple of nonprofits here in our city that I'm sure would assist and make the information available, like our Help of Fort Meade, where a lot of our residents, our low-income residents, do visit time to time pretty regularly. So if you want to get it to me, I'll make sure it gets out.
No problem. I'll make sure of that. I do have one other comment that came to mind as we talked about the grant. This is a grant, not a loan. There is follow-up. Right. I want to say that so the citizenry doesn't think that I come up, say I want 50 grand, you get 50 grand, you go away, and nobody ever hears from you again. Right? There will be some follow-up involved because there's reporting that's due with this. So the funding and the distribution of the funding has to be documented, justified, and so forth. We're not going to make it like you're having to give away your third born, but we're going to make sure that we can track. And please, attend the sessions that we will have prior to, because that's where a lot of the questions will be answered, because I'll create the thought pattern for you to ask the questions. So, for instance, you're going to hear, a few qualification comments, because there is a i.e. one, and unless there's some other. I'll give you this example. If you do not have a business, which means that you have not established it with sunbiz.org, even if you're doing business as a DBA, James Randolph, doing business as Carolina Consulting, until you get to those stages, you're not in business. So we'd hate to have to try to justify and report on such. So it costs minimum to do that. So those of you who are thinking about participating and engaging in this program, please at least get that part taken care of. You need to actually have a business. All right?
Thank you. Vice Mayor McCutcheon, any other questions?
I'm done. Thank
Okay,
you,
Commissioner
Mr.
Wise.
Randolph.
Commissioner Wise? Okay.
Can I add one thing before? I just want to make sure that it's clear that this is subject to final approval from the Department of Commerce.
Well, yes, sir.
So-
Which is what I was going to ask. Where are we at getting approval from the state?
So our grant assistance through Mr. Fox is in the process of submitting the required documentation to them to get final approval from them of the commission's stated desires to do the 1.1 million for business assistance. So once we get formal approval back from the department, then we can move forward with the program, and we expect that should be any week now.
Okay.
So.
Great. And I know we were stating that the max limit is 250,000. Is that allowable?
Is it allowable within the program?
Within the program.
Yes.
Thank you.
If the program is approved, yes.
Okay.
And it's up to $1.1 million worth of funding for the program. And what we identified when we reviewed the original grant application is that you're going to have up to 1.1 of actual assistance, and then the cost of actually implementing the program, working in partnership with Tampa Bay BBIC, that comes out of a separate fund of the grant, which is a little bit of a segue to the next item on the agenda. So.
Okay, great. If we have no further questions regarding this agenda item, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution R2026-10.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. If there is no further discussion, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Great. Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. We are moving on to item H03, Resolution R 2026-11, approval of amended subrecipient agreement with Help of Fort Meade.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, approving an increase in funding for the Fort Meade Utility Assistance Program funded through the Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, Coronavirus CDBG CV Program, approving program guidelines, training materials, and a subrecipient agreement with the Help of Fort Meade, Inc., approving amendment number 3 to the CDBGV CV agreement, number 22 CV-S18, to increase program funding in an amount not to exceed $735,000, subject to Florida Commerce approval, providing limited authorization to execute documents consistent with Florida Commerce approval and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Attorney. Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask Ms. Wheeler, the Assistant City Manager, to present this to you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We had a very large participation in our utility assistance program. And with that, we're here tonight requesting an increase in funding.
I'm going to have you speak just a little louder. I see the back row leaning in. Thank you.
We're here tonight to request an increase in funding for the very popular utility assistance program that has almost utilized all $1 million in funding that they were previously allocated. This particular agreement, which is amendment number 3, would increase the utility assistance program by $735,000 through an amended subrecipient agreement with our program partners, the Help of Fort Meade. The city previously established this program using $1 million in CDBG funds to provide direct utility payment assistance in eligible residents with payments made directly to utility providers. The program is available citywide, meets federal CDBG guidelines, and is designated to benefit low and moderate income households. The additional funds will allow the city to expand the assistance to more qualifying households and fully utilize available grant funds. There is no impact to the city's general fund, and all costs are covered by the CDBG grant. Any increase in funding tonight And the execution of an amendment and subrecipient agreement must be fully approved by Florida Commerce prior to implementation.
Thank you, City Manager.
Yes. And just to add to that, the original thought was that there was only $1 million worth of utility assistance. That's what the board authorized and the commission authorized. And the thought was that the program implementation as well as the assistance had to come out of that $1 million worth of allocation. What we discovered as we began to review the loan details and the deliverables associated with it is that there is a separate deliverable that allows for us to pay for the actual program implementation separate from the actual assistance. So in increasing from 1 million to an additional 735,000, that is pure assistance, utility assistance. So it's not only an increase of 735,000, but it's also an increase because we're able to take the implementation costs out of a separate deliverable, which is program implementation. So that makes sense.
That does, and thank you.
Sure.
Before we have any commissions, we would like, if anyone in the public would like to comment or have any questions regarding this item. Floor. Okay. Granted that there are none, commissioners.
Oh, I will. I just think it's a great opportunity that the city is able to give back to the residents who are in desperate need of assistance. Especially now that some individuals, they don't have to choose now. What am I going to do? Eat or pay my light bill? Because of this. So I commend the staff for your hard work, for you going back, reviewing the agreements and reviewing everything. I commend you all for that. And I'm certain the residents who are benefiting from this, I'm sure they are eternally grateful, because now that's one thing. And I'm getting a little emotional because it's not me, but it could be someone that I love that's in need, who's benefiting from this effort. And I just want to say thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And to say we're not doing anything is a slap in our face. We are doing a lot to help our residents, because I don't know of any other cities who are doing it on this level, who are the size that we are. So again, I say thank you all for your efforts. Thank you so much.
And let me just add too, thanks to help of Fort Meade, because this could not be possible without that organization. And just to reiterate that this is still subject to final approval from the Department of Commerce. But once we did get that, it's a full court press to get to the June 1st deadline to make sure that we expend all the funds. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other additional comments from commissioners? Okay, great. Granted that there is no further discussion, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution R2026-11, approving amendment number 3 to the CDBG-CB agreement number 22CV-S18 between Florida Commerce and the City of Fort Meade, authorizing an increase in funding for the Fort Meade Utility Assistance Program by $735,000 and authorizing execution of any necessary amendments to the subrecipient agreement with Help of Fort Meade, Inc., subject to the Florida Commerce approval.
Great. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Moving forward, we have H04, Resolution R2026-12, regarding litigation strategy and potential credit bid in the City of Fort Meade versus Home Solutions LLC foreclosure action.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, authorizing action in the foreclosure case against Home Solutions LLC, providing options for county or circuit court proceedings, authorizing credit bidding or non-bidding on the property, establishing parameters for maximum bid and deposit, acknowledging public purpose of property acquisition, providing limited authorization to execute necessary documents, and providing for an effective date.
Oh, before we begin, I know that we had an executive session where this was discussed. I wanted to ask on record, do we have any exposure discussing in this setting?
No.
No? Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to defer this back to the city attorney.
Okay. Thank you.
At this time, I need guidance from the commission on whether you all would like this to remain in county court or be moved up and transferred to circuit court. That would be the first thing that we would need to make a decision on. The rest of the items I'll go through after. You guys probably want to open it up to the public just to see if they would like to, weigh in on it. And then we can come back to it.
Great. So regarding this item H04, we're going to open it up for the public to see if there's any comment or discussion, any questions. Okay. Granted that there are none.
Great. So since that officially closes out, when we talked about this beforehand, we talked about the jurisdiction of county court being $50,000 exclusive of attorney's fees and costs. That's the amount that we would put the judgment in for. At this point in time, our judgment far exceeds that because of rolling fines and things of that nature. So the commission would need to back that down, and they have the authority to do that, to not collect on some of those fees, and then you could keep it in county court. We send it to the judge, and the judge would set it for a final sale. If the commission wanted to stand firm on all the fees that is due right now, that would exceed the jurisdiction of county court, and I would have to do a motion and transfer so that it could go to circuit court, and those limits are anything that's in excess of $50,000. I do need to act on this. I have about 4 days left. The judge has given me a strict timeline for that, so I'm going to need a decision tonight on whether or not you guys are sticking with county court or if you're going up to circuit court, and then we can go to the next phase of this.
Thank you. What is the will of the commission?
Well, I personally would like to see us to move forward to the circuit court.
Okay.
I agree, circuit court.
I disagree. I like for it to stay in the county court to assure, because I was just thinking about if it goes up to circuit court and it goes up to a certain amount, I don't know where, say for instance, and we put it out for bid and we buy it and we win, where do we get the funds to pay for this immediately? Like what was the example I think you gave? Like if it's $250, then we have to pay a certain amount within 24 hours.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit more background on that. Once the commission decides whether you're going to keep it in circuit court, whether you're going to keep it in county court or move up to circuit court, the commission would then decide on whether or not they would like to participate in the foreclosure process and become a bidder. If so, then you would need to authorize myself or somebody from the staff to open up a bidder account and to be able to place monies into the clerk's registry, 5% of what the maximum amount of the bid that you would like to allow. So then you would also have to determine the max amount of a bid that you would like. And none of this part is litigation per se. So this is all based on what your decision and strategy for the litigation is going to be. So we've had that conversation. So what would happen at that point in a typical sale is the monies would be due if you were the person who won the auction, the bid at auction, then you would have to pay the money generally within 24 hours the next day, and that would be the total sum. So just to give you an example really quickly, if our final judgment were to be for $100,000, you guys could have a credit bid for that amount. That means you wouldn't put any money in up to the $100,000. So if this property were to be auctioned off by the court and it sold for $100,000 and you were the highest bidder, you pay no money, you have it, you take, ownership of it, and you're good to go. However, if it were to sell for $150,000 and the highest bidder up under you bid $145,000, then you all, if you authorize your staff to bid up to $150,000, you'd be the winner, which would mean now you would have to pay $145,500 because you actually paid $500 over the bidder that was next to you that was right up under you. You paid $500 over that amount, and you never know what that is going to be. So that means that you would then need $45,500 that would be due within 24 hours. So there's no way I can tell you And that's plus or minus some, because remember, you have a deposit there and they'll take from that deposit. So there's no way for me to tell you who's going to be at an auction on any given day bidding. So I wouldn't be able to give you a specific amount, but those are things that you can consider. I would give you this second thing. I know that's a lot of talking. I apologize. But we had all of these discussions in a meeting before. But I'll give you this second thing to consider. It is possible, if the commission would like to vote and make the motion specific tonight to just remaining in county court or moving it to circuit court, and then having a subsequent review of this at another meeting, that's possible to determine whether or not you would actually like the staff to bid on this and how much you would like to bid, if you thought that that may need some more discussion. You don't have to do all of the things tonight.
Hypothetically speaking, with a credit bid, say the judgment's 100,000, we could set our top bid at 100,000.
Yes, you could.
And would be no cost to us. And if that was a high bid, we get to keep the property, and then we could sell it again at another attempt.
Correct.
Without any expense.
Correct.
Yeah, or, I don't know, whatever the will of the commission is, if you decided that, forward thinking, you may need this property for something else in the future.
Correct.
So that's why I stated it's possible for you to break this into two. You don't have to have what you want to do specifically right now for both parts on the
we
record.
do need to make the decision on circuit or county. Right.
Yes, we do. And again, this is all hypothetical. So with your same scenario, if someone bid $101,000, then technically you would lose out on that property for $500.
Right.
So those are decisions that you all need to make.
So the question is then on the circuit court, we could send it to circuit court, get the funds for the liens, and not bid on the property. Then the bid could go to a private owner, and then it would become a taxable, tax generating properties. Of course, they would have to clean it up. It's a very important piece of property because of where it is. But do we want to own another piece of property in the city?
And that is correct. So if it were to be bid on by someone outside of the city and they were to win it, then the clerk would take obviously those funds and we get that deposited back into the city. So that would be something we would have. But of course, it would be on the tax roll. They would be paying taxes.
And we
things
would
of that
have the
nature.
control over what is built there by way of planning and zoning. So, it
Correct.
wouldn't be a nuclear power plant.
I mean, an individual who wants to change the
Right.
use can always come before the board. So we can't say that it would ever stay the same. The
Right.
board changes, the commission
But
changes.
there are homes that are being built along there, one that's currently under construction. So it could, I don't know if it's zoned residential or not because of its previous use. But it's up to the commission.
Do we have any additional questions?
Oh, Mr. Mayor, I move that we move to circuit court.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if none, we'll have a vote. Those who are in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye. Motion passes 3-2.
So at this time, I can have a conversation with the city manager, and I believe as far as you guys participating in the bid or not, we would have a different conversation on that
For the future?
for the future. Once it's set, I'll get you that information.
Okay. Thank you, Marquise.
Moving forward to item H05, Resolution 2026-09, realigning administrative departments under the supervision of city manager and creation of the city manager department. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I should have said when we were doing additions and deletions, request that this item be removed from the agenda.
Okay.
We'd like to do some additional research and study on exactly how we want this to lay out. And so I'd like to take some time and bring that back at a later date.
Okay, thank you. Do we need a motion? Yes. Okay, can I have a motion regarding Resolution R 2026-09?
All right.
Well, Removing.
Removal, sorry.
Right.
Thank you.
So you don't have.
Mr. Mayor, I move to remove resolution R2026-09 for a later date.
I second.
Wait, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Now we will go to item H06, Resolution R2026-05, State Assisted Hazard Mitigation Loan Application, the wastewater SFR.
A resolution of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, relating to the state revolving fund loan program, making findings, authorizing the loan application, authorizing the loan agreement, establishing pledged revenues, designating authorized representatives, providing assurances, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners again. I'm going to defer to Miss Mary Gavin, who is here with Gavin Consulting, who helped us get this grant. And then also with her is Mr. Doug Brown with Adair Engineering Services that also helped us apply for both of these water and wastewater grants.
I'm Mary Gavin, Gavin Consulting. Actually, this came about because I was in partnership with SERCAP, with the Southeast Rural Community Assistance Project, and they had entered into a contract with me and to assist rural communities with getting hurricane funds as a result of Hurricane Ian. Well, whenever Milton hit and Helene hit, I contacted Amy and I said, "Hey, Amy, don't want to see you miss out on some money. You know, there's quite a bit of money, you know, under the SRF program, and it's 100% grant." And so with her assistance and Tommy's assistance and Evelyn's assistance, you know, Adora and I put together a project scope along with Tommy, you know, and to figure out what your needs were. And so you guys were listed for $19.17 million for the wastewater side. That's 100% principal forgiveness, and then $1.373 million on the water side. And so, you know, after visiting with Evelyn today too, as well, you know, USDA's got some, you know, disaster funding too. So I'm going to try to get you as much grant funding as I can. You know, the actual application on the wastewater side was $25 million, but the cap that they gave any one entity was 19. You got the cap on the wastewater side, and so hopefully we can kind of get you some other funding from another source, you know, to match that cap, since you already kind of have the project scope and a lot of the, you know, groundwork done. So tonight, it's a resolution to be passed to give the city manager the authority to execute the application documents and to submit the application for the funding.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions about anything or comments?
Any questions?
Good.
Okay.
Actually, when it says it's 100% forgiveness, is that an automatic thing or is it conditional?
No, it's not conditional. It's an automatic. Okay. Now, one thing that we do have to do is once we submit the application and there's a planning document that has to be prepared, then the engineer has to document the tieback to the storm still. So it can't be, I'd say automatic. It's not necessarily automatic until that planning document's done and we can submit the justification documentation. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. If no further questions, what is the will of the commission?
Oh.
And there are actually two separate resolutions because it's two separate.
Correct. We'll get to the next
yeah.
one. Okay. What's that?
And I'm really excited about this. If you hearken back to the assessment of our water wastewater that was included in my previous report, this is gravely needed, and I'm excited that we're going to be able to move in that direction with this funding. So.
Awesome. Before we move forward, do we have anyone from the public who'd like to speak on this item?
Did I see a hand?
No.
No? Okay. No public comment. So what is the will of the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution R2026-05, State Assisted Hazard Mitigation Loan Application for the wastewater SFR.
Can I correct a little bit of that language? Because it's not state hazard mitigation. It's actually supplemental appropriation for Hurricanes Milton and Helene.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
So moved.
Wait, so give us 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we will have you say that again, just maybe a little slower.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Can you give that to us one more
It's
time?
called supplemental appropriation. Clean water SRF disaster funding.
Okay.
And drinking water SRF disaster funding. But it's a supplemental appropriation for Hurricane Helene and Milton. They call it SAM for short, SAHM, which is Supplemental Appropriation Hurricane
got it.
Helene and Milton.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution R2026-05, the SAM.
Mm-hmm.
All right. SFR.
Yeah.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Great. Moving on to the next resolution that you mentioned. And I don't know if it's titled correctly, but I'll read it as written. Resolution R 2026-06, State Assisted Hazard Mitigation Loan Application.
It's the same thing
It's the
as the
same.
previous
So
one. Yeah.
let's correct Resolution R 2026-06, Supplemental Appropriation for Hurricane Helene and
Milton. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Second.
So
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sister.
a resolution of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, relating to the state revolving fund loan program, making findings, authorizing the loan application, authorizing the loan agreement, establishing pledged revenues, designating authorized representatives, providing assurances, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
Great. Mr. Manager. is it-
Sure. I think you already had
Yes.
the presentation. The one thing that wasn't mentioned in the original presentation, she did not go into her
Credentials, okay.
credentials. Yes.
Yeah, so do you want me? Okay. All right. So I am a retired USDA Rural Development Director. 32 years of experience. I retired in 2017. Actually, the program director asked me to come back on a contract basis with SERCAP to provide that rural assistance to rural communities. And so when I worked with rural development, I, administered about 45 different, loan and grant programs. And but since that time with SERCAP and then just out on Gavin Consulting, I've been exposed to anything and everything you can imagine as far as funding for rural communities. And so I'm very knowledgeable and all the different, grant opportunities that are out there. And then, so when I go into a community, I just don't say, what are your water and wastewater needs? I ask you what your business needs are, what your community facility needs are. If I know there's a grant that's out there, I'll let you know, so that you can take advantage of it and you don't miss out. And so,
Thank
you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any questions? No discussion? Okay, great. Granted, if there are none, do we have a motion?
Here we go.
All right.
Give it a shot.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution R2026-06, SAM, SFR.
Wonderful. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Those who are in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution passes. Moving on to
I just want to thank you for waiting since you got pushed to the end and for coming.
Rachel Howard is actually with SERCAP, and so she's a direct employee, and their staff, they have free technical assistance to free service.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you all for being
so
here
much.
tonight. Thank you. Okay.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Meade, Florida, approving an agreement for the upgrade of BSNA software to a cloud-based enterprise resource planning ERP platform, authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement subject to legal review, acknowledging certain pricing and payment terms, providing for implementation, and providing for the effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I should have said when we were discussing the previous item regarding the payment systems, but if you recall, when I submitted my entry plan, one of the things that I talked about was an overall assessment of the community, looking at the people and staff, looking at processes and systems, evaluating vehicles, equipment, and then also evaluating the facilities. So as part of that whole process, looking at the systems that we have and the need for us to be able to renew those systems, to upgrade those systems, to be more technologically savvy, allows us to be able to do more. And so this item, as well as the payment systems that we talked about, will allow us to be much more efficient, much more effective by moving into the cloud. And as the item mentions too, and I won't go into much more detail because I want Mr. Harrison to cover the detail, but we have 3 years on our current system with BSNA before they push us to the cloud. And so when it's either we act now or we wait 3 years and the price could be whatever it could be in 3 years. But if we act now and we move to the cloud, we have access to all the modules. It's much more effective, much more efficient. We don't have to worry about updates and delays, which is what we're dealing with now. We can provide so many more services that we don't currently offer by being able to go to the cloud. So again, this is something that ties directly back to an evaluation of our systems and processes and the need for us to upgrade our technology in order to be a better, more effective, and more efficient. So, Mr. Harris, would you please?
Yes. Yeah, I'm happy to present this one, but I'd like to start just by acknowledging Jennifer. I have the good fortune to present this, but Jennifer does a lot of the legwork on matters like this, and she just did a really, really good job. So as the city manager said, what we're talking about here is moving from a server-based system to a cloud-based system. When we looked at the economics of it, you're seeing a cost increase from $13,635 to $29,300. However, we have money in all of the departments, 1,000 or 2,000, that will cover this. So it's really funded out of the existing budget, but spread across departments because they all participate in general ledger and accounts payable and all the things that we would use the system for. So we see this as a good opportunity to streamline, become more efficient, more responsive, helps the finance office, helps the departments, helps HR. So we just think it's clearly the right thing to do at no increase in cost.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Well, actually, since this item was pulled, let's open up for public forum. Do we have any questions, comments from the public? Okay, granted that there are none. Any questions, comments from the commission?
You said there will be no further costs, additional costs.
Correct. Right. We have the money in the budget.
And if I can add to this too, this is something that will essentially pay for itself. There are cost savings that are created by us going into the cloud that we will be able to deliver to the citizens as well as to the city as a whole. So in your package is a cash flow diagram that shows how we would effectively recoup the costs associated with this over the next year.
Great. So I did have questions, Mr. Manager,
Sure.
and I'm going to try to walk through it so that we're on the same page.
Okay.
The staff report only mentions the change in yearly subscription, but there are implementation costs of almost $100,000 in addition to the subscription. Yes.
Well, the subscription, it's not in addition to the subscription, it includes the subscription.
It includes.
Yes.
Okay. I see the breakdown, and we have it in our report. The implementation costs include project management and implementation planning. Total cost $22,050. Implementation and training days. Total cost $45,325. Professional services. Total cost $67,375. Shows the total implementation cost as $96,675.
Right.
As shown in the document, total implementation expense. So those numbers added up those numbers don't actually add up. And so I want to see how my accounting is different from yours and what are related expenses for airfare.
Well, 96,000 should be 96,000 and change. What's the total? 96. Okay. And so while she's pulling that out, should be the total implementation cost, including the maintenance costs. It is divided over 3 different payments. The first payment is in fiscal year number 1, and the second 2 payments would be in the next fiscal year. So in this fiscal year, you have the first payment, fiscal year 26, and the other 2 payments will be in fiscal year 27. Now, in terms of the totals not adding up, I'm going to defer to Mr. Ayers and Ms. No about the specifics.
So again, those numbers are 22,050, right? 45,325, 67,370.
Okay. So those 2 numbers together equal the 67,000.
Got it. And in reference to the $730 per trip for airfare related expenses, well, what are related expenses for airfare?
So, go ahead.
So everything for them coming down to us and training us is included in the implementation and training days. And also that dollar amount is, it depends on how many days they spend here. If they spend, I have it at 28 days total, then it will be the 34,000 per month. If they spend more, it will be more. If they spend less, it will be less, depending on how many days they're here.
And do we know what that looks like? And do we know how many trips?
So they will stay here. That includes them to stay here and train on site.
Okay.
And then also they have training afterwards available virtually
Okay.
to us as needed.
Okay.
And it is included. The implementation and the training days is included. Virtually is as long as we need them.
Okay. So last question, the costs are separate from the annual subscription fee of 29,300. Are these costs separate?
Yes.
Okay.
And these training costs are one-time costs, or they will update in the future?
It's a one-time cost.
Okay.
The only fee that is annually is the 29,300.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's the subscription cost.
Okay.
Which does represent an increase because the current amount that we're paying for subscription is
13,500-ish.
Okay. I was really concerned about it says $730 per trip for airfare, and I didn't know who controls how many trips are being made. Is that 3, 4, or 5? But you're saying once they're here,
Right.
they're here.
And it's pretty much at our request. If we request them to come back for additional training, then we need to understand that that's part of the 730. But based on the training that we expect, the 28 days should cover everything.
Okay.
We don't even expect that we're going to use the full 28 days.
Okay.
So that cost may go down if we use less.
Okay.
So like most private corporations that I've worked for, there's always a point person that trains and can retrain. So can we make that a thing that we have a point person that can be then the guru?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you. I didn't say her name.
Also, I would like to add that the customer service with BSNA since I've been with Fort Meade has been amazing. I can put in a help desk ticket with them, whether it's them to teach me how to do something new or to figure out an issue that we're having. They have always responded within a 30-minute time frame. I've never had an issue with their customer service.
And when I worked with BSNA in Michigan, I had fairly poor experience with them, and their solution was for us to go to the cloud, and once we went to the cloud, that everything would be peachy keen. The fact that coming here, we have a much better relationship with customer service puts us off the charts. So I'm really excited about being here and this customer service here, because it's much better than what I experienced in the north.
Awesome. Those are the only questions I have. Anyone else on the commission?
No, I have none.
Okay, great. So do we have a motion? I'm catching up on H08, Resolution R 2026-07.
Well, child.
It's right here. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I move to approve resolution R 2026-07, approving the agreement for the BSNA cloud software upgrade, authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement, subject to review and approval by the city attorney, acknowledging the agreement's annual fee adjustment provisions, authorizing city staff to take all actions necessary to implement the cloud-based platform.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Moving on to item I, there are no public hearings. Item J, ordinances J01, ordinance 2026-01, first reading.
An ordinance of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, to close, vacate, renounce, and disclaim any rights of the city and the public to unimproved rights of ways located north of 9th Street and being part of J.E. Robinson's addition according to plat thereof, recorded in Plat Book 1, page 21 of the public records of Polk County, Florida, as shown on attachment A and specifically described therein.
Which number was that?
Yes.
Madam City Attorney, I'm just looking at the ordinances. That's actually J03, and there's a J1 and a J2.
Let me try that again. For first reading, an ordinance of the city of Fort Meade, Florida, amending the comprehensive plan future land use map, specifically amending one parcel of land comprising of 3.76 acres from the future land use of commercial to industrial on the property located at 929 US Highway 17 North.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, I'm still searching.
It's the pink tab. Oh, are they all different? Okay, well, the mayor brought that up earlier.
My apology, I can't find it.
It's set. It's the seventh from the end. The seventh one back from the end.
But it's not titled.
You got a J.
Okay. So that's over it. Then we have a 02.
That might be out of order.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, because that's not J3.
I see. I don't think I have this one.
I believe you do have it. It just may be a little bit difficult to find at this point in time. You and I are having the same situation, right?
No, we're all future land use map.
Is yours on the orange tab?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't have
Oh, okay. So this would be J01.
I don't know why yours is just like that.
Okay. So city manager, I can't leave with this ordinance. I don't have I don't have it. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I know. Just trying to match it up.
Yeah. So that is that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see it now.
Just a first reading.
Just the first reading. Yes.
Okay, all right. Apology to you all. This will be better next time. Okay. Do we have a action on this item?
So we have a representative here in the audience.
Okay, great. Can we? Thank you. Thank you.
She's been waiting all night.
Yes, patiently.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all good. Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, I'm Stephanie Von Pileski Bush with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And as you heard, tonight we have a future land use amendment and a rezoning. And if you go to the next slide. Okay. Well, the address is 929.
Sorry, I'm going to slow you down because I would like the public to be able to follow, and it's not more so slow you down. I want to make sure that we are aligned with you. Okay, thank you. So, are you ready for the next slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, fabulous. All right, so the applicant is Chad Lin from Lin Engineering, and the owner is Hassan Al-Kuz. The request is for a future land use amendment as well as a rezoning. It's 3.76 acres, and it's 929 North US 17. It's just south of the Valmont property there. And then the purpose is to update the city's future land use and zoning. And then on the next slide, you'll see, so the current future land use is commercial. It's that little red shape. And then surrounding it on the west side of 17 is all industrial. And the zoning currently is also that red area, it's C2 commercial. And then the next slide shows the proposed future land use and zoning. So the applicant is proposing to change the future land use to industrial to match the surrounding area, and also to change the zoning to M2 heavy industry, which is also what is surrounding there. Then on the next slide, so this is consistent with the surrounding area. The change, the objectives and policies of the adopted comprehensive plan, and the land use is compatible also, that matches the character of the surrounding neighborhood, and facilities and services are available there, water and sewer, and then of course they have access to 17. There is a building on that site right now, and I think it's being rented out. I'm not entirely sure. But so on the next slide, so as I said, the land use, as far as the land use compatibility is concerned, the current zoning is C2, and the proposed zoning is M2, and then the surrounding area is industrial and commercial up there. And then as far as this next slide, so the city, as I said, water and sewer are available, and they'd have direct access to 17. And then yesterday at the Planning Commission meeting, Planning Commission voted unanimously to send this proposal to you today. And then we've got two motions. There's one for the future land use, and then the next motion will be for this rezoning. So the first one is, as I said, the future land use amendment. And I'm happy to answer questions. I'm not sure if the applicant is here. Nope. Okay. So, sorry, I buzzed through that.
No problem. And you stated that this did go before the P&Z board.
Yesterday.
Passed unanimously. Correct. Do we have any questions?
Maybe they moved this with approval.
Yes. Oh, yes. Sorry.
I knew the three options here.
So, I'd like to consult with legal as. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. I don't have the full ordinance. Are there thoughts?
There is no full ordinance. No full ordinance was provided, so this needs to be tabled.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Before we table, can we get the definition of heavy industry?
So your land development code separates. There's M2, well, M1 and M2, and M1 is light industry and M2 is heavy industry. There's a long list of items. that's, I mean, it's kind of what you think of,
Okay.
like the Valmont and that sort of, those types of heavier,
Right.
more intensive uses.
Okay.
Okay. Granted that we do not have the ordinance, the full ordinance, and that is for ordinance 2026-01 and ordinance 2026-02. Do we have a motion by the commission? Okay.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 2026-101 and ordinance 2026-02 until we have the full ordinance in front of us.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those who are in favor, can you signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Apologies.
That's okay.
And thank you.
I think it was my fault that I didn't send that, but we'll get on it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, moving forward, item J03, ordinance 2026-03.
Well, I mean, I've read this one already, but I'll read it again. The ordinance of the city of Fort Meade, Polk County, Florida, to close, vacate, renounce, and disclaim any rights of the city and the public to unimproved rights of way located north of 9th Street and being a part of J.E. Robinson's addition according to the plat thereof recorded in Plat Book 1, page 21 of the public records of the Polk County, Florida, as shown on attachment A and specifically described therein.
Okay.
Okay.
What is the will of the commission? What is the will of the commission?
Oh,
Yes,
this-
regarding, this is
What?
now, wait,
So I can give you a little bit of background information on it. Each one of your directors, this was sent out to them because before you want to give up some rights of ways, you want to make sure that we're not using any of the utilities that are there. So I spoke with Mrs. Evelyn Guffey. I spoke with I believe Steve and also your interim fire chief. And the only request that I got back from them was that if they decided to change this use, if the city could be notified, and I believe we put something like 30 days in advance, just for public safety and things of that nature. But I believe they'd already done their homework and they made sure that there were no other public utilities that were being used at that point in time. So neither of your directors had any problem giving up this right away. They didn't see any challenges with it or anything of that nature.
What was their use?
Beforehand,
Yes.
let's see. I don't think I can tell you specifically what their use
Well, I
was
couldn't
beforehand, but
find
there's a map that should be included as well.
There was not.
I didn't get one.
No, there was
Yeah, I
no
don't
map.
have one either.
There was no map.
There was
Oh, hold on, maybe.
a full map that showed you each of the streets. It should be in your packet that has
Yeah,
every
no.
right of way that was
Not on
given up.
these.
No.
The Robinson Circle, right?
This is for
Do you have the planning and zoning board meeting books in front of you?
no.
They were here earlier.
This is for the
Okay, granted where we
So we're
are.
probably gonna have to
Table.
table this as well because you don't have the benefit of maps being in front of you. But let me say this before.
One second. I'll continue.
Let me say this. They have been the application that came in for this, I believe initially came in sometime at the latter part of 2025. So these individuals have been waiting pretty patiently for this. That doesn't negate the fact that you guys don't have the maps in front of you. But I was going to say before we table it, maybe we could ask the public if they want to have any comment and then allow the individuals that are here to come up and then they may be able to present that. I can also get the map to the clerk and we could possibly get it up on the TV for everyone to see.
Great. So the possibly right. There's a big world of possibilities. What should have been is that the map has been included in our book, and granted that we don't have it, I think it's unfair to ask the public to have comment on something that we also don't have. I know that you're here and prepared to present, so I want to welcome you to come present. But this is another era that we have to address. We have to. Could you come at this time?
This is for the subdivision, right?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commission. John Clyde.
with 30 South Surveying representing the client in trying to proceed with this development that's been going on for some time. I happen to have copies of the map with me that I can gladly hand out to each of you.
Could you hand it to the clerk for disbursement, sir? Could you hand it to the city clerk? Thank you.
Make sure we've got enough. I think I got a couple more.
So I think this is one of the entrance to the subdivision away from that house. Yeah.
Like John.
Yeah, if I may help on the Exhibit A, which shows the map of the right-of-ways we're talking about. This is a very...
Right before you begin, I'm sorry. Can you share this with the public? Do we have an image available to share? It's okay. I just wanted to know, do we have it in any digital format?
We do have it. We do have it in digital format.
Okay.
But he can start presenting it.
Okay, thank you. You can continue.
Well, anyway, this is a very, very old subdivision, one of the most earliest ones in the city. And it's so old that there was no formal plat, really. It's just a map that was shown as part of the city. And in that, they had extensions north of 9th Street of Polk Avenue, Church Avenue, and then as you can see, east and west is 10th and 11th Streets. So this has been in one family's ownership for probably close to 100 years. And it was the old flood property, and which became the Hancock property. And they've always operated it as one piece of property and had cattle out there and citrus grove on this property. And these right-of-ways have never been used, never been improved. And now the client that I represent, GE Investments, Polk, has purchased the property. In preparation of preparing a plat of a subdivision, it's necessary to vacate these right-of-ways so they can put in new streets, new infrastructure, new lot line layouts, I should say. And so first things first, we have to vacate these right-of-ways because property appraisers are still showing them as being valid right-of-ways. But again, they've never been improved and never been used. So our petition to the Planning and Zoning Board, and we brought this forward, and then my understanding they were going to have a first reading tonight on this to again keep this ball rolling, because it has been quite a journey to get here.
And I want to again apologize, and I'm doing a lot of apologizing tonight because of accountability, and I want to apologize. This is not your fault. Are there any questions from the audience now that you can see the map? Do we have anyone from the public who would like to comment or address any questions? You please come up to the podium and state your name and address.
Hi. Teresa Keene, 809 Edgewood, Fort Meade. So I live on the corner of where this is going in. How did it get this far to put all those homes and streets in the beautiful land that is there?
Yes, ma'am. This item has come before the commission before, and there's been quite a bit of discussion. It's gone before the P&Z board. It's also come before the commission. So that's how we've gotten to the point where we are now.
I'm against the whole project. It's too big. It's like with the data center. Fort Meade's going to be responsible for the fire, everything. This is too big of a development to use up our land or their land.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. Do we have anyone else from the public who would like to comment? Okay, great. Granted that there are no more. Do we have any commissioners? Any
I have
questions?
none.
I'm sorry. None? Okay, great. Granted that there are no questions, what is the will of the commission regarding ordinance 2026-03?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 2026-03
We have a first. Do we have a second?
on first reading.
First reading, right.
First, right? Have a second? Yes, sir. Okay, great. We have a first and a second. All those who are in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
So on our next ordinance, it actually reflects in the agenda package as 2026-02, but it should be 2026-04.
That's what I have.
First
Okay.
reading.
Okay. Could you read the ordinance, please? Thank you.
An ordinance granting Duke Energy Florida LLC DBA Duke Energy and electric utility rights-of-way utilization franchise, describing the terms and the conditions related to the occupancy of municipal streets and rights-of-way in the city of Fort Meade, Florida, for the purpose of providing electric service, providing for severability of provisions, and providing for an effective date. We do have representatives here from FMPA who represents us in a lot of these transactions, as well as Duke Energy. They're available to come up and present.
Okay, great. If you would like to, please come at this time. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Tiffany Dale. I'd like to just take a quick moment to introduce myself. I'm quite new to Duke Energy, but will be serving in the Government and Community Relations Manager role for Polk County and specifically Fort Meade. So I look forward to getting to know all of you, and we appreciate the work that has been done for this first reading with the city attorney and all of you involved that are invested in this. We appreciate it very much. Looking forward to working together, and we have Miss Christian here today, Katie with Duke Energy's franchise team. So I'll defer any questions and information to her. Thank you very much. We understand that your city attorney has briefed you, so if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great. Do we have anyone from the public who would like to comment or any questions regarding this ordinance 2026-04? None? Okay. Do we have any questions from our commission regarding this ordinance?
I have none.
No.
I just,
Commissioner Lott?
there are renewal deadlines on that, and I'm just wanting to confirm it. Who in the city staff would be in charge of taking care of, hey, we're coming up on these renewal deadlines, we need to, I just don't want it to go ahead and say yes, and then it's
Right.
just sitting there and nobody ever comes back to it.
So that's a joint responsibility from the city manager as well as the city attorney, I would say, to make sure that we are meeting our deadlines for contracts or contract agreements.
So I do have to add this. We've had some discussions about the city manager having items in place that build upon a list that talk about when things come up.
Right.
So your deputy clerk might be more appropriate to have that with different staff members that have deadlines that are set in place, because through transition and with the length of time that this agreement is going to take to play out, there's no way that any one person is going to remember that. There needs to be a system built with implementation of that to have that follow through.
Exactly. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions, comments? Okay.
One thing I would say is that originally they were looking to be able to provide franchise revenues back in July, and I want to commend Duke for going back and looking at it again when I asked them to reconsider it, and as a result, they're going to be able to start June 1st as opposed to July 1st. So thank you so much for being willing to put in the hard work to get to yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. What is the will of the commission regarding ordinance 2026-04?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the ordinance 2026-04 upon first reading.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all so much for being
Thank
here this
you.
evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on to item K01, update on library multipurpose center project. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to ask our library director to give us a presentation on it. Okay.
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, staff, residents of City of Fort Meade. Glad to be back. Last time I was here was on December the 9th of last year. And at that time, I reported that we were waiting for the architect on the design build team to provide us with the 100% design documents. We have since received those documents. Those documents have been passed to the authorities having jurisdiction, namely Water Management District and also Polk County. We've received first round of comments back from Water Management District on the civil drawings, and we're anticipating very shortly comments back from Polk County. Once those documents are approved and stamped, approved for construction, then of course we could go and begin to pull the master permit and sub permits. What you have in that packet before you, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. I'll wrap up with that. But what you have in that packet before you, there's several drawings. The first of which just shows, on the first page, it just shows some elevations, right? So it shows you what the building is going to look like. That's on the first page. It shows you, yes, it shows you what the building looks like. It's looking at it from the north and from the south. The north is, if she can pull it up, but the north.
Would you like me to start at the top?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The orientation, here, I'll let her pull it up. There we go. All right. So that's what's on the first page, right? And that's the building looking at it from the south end. If you just go to the one below that, no, same slide, but just lower on the page. Yes. Okay. So now that's the building looking at it from the north face. The north face is the face that's going to be Broadway. So Broadway is north, and then you got it's Washington on the east, South Washington on the east. So that building orientation, the next slide will show you that. But the orientation is that north end that you see there is going to face Broadway. And that's going to be the entry point of the building. So once you come into that building, you'll enter through the lobby and you'll be able to walk straight through the to the common area, the community center area. And if you come through the front lobby door and you go right, you go to the library. But if you go to the next slide, okay, that's what I was just referring to. And it's kind of hard for me to see it from this orientation. Excuse me for turning my back to you, but what I want to point out to you, this is what I was just saying to you. That's the north end.
Yeah.
Right? So you come in the building, you come into the lobby, you can walk straight through, and that takes you into this common area. This is also the hurricane shelter. So in this area, what you have are 3 conference rooms or meeting rooms, if you would. You have a set of restrooms here, and then you have a prep kitchen down on this end. It's not a cooking kitchen, it's a prep kitchen. And then you have a storage room, an audio-visual room, and then on this end, you have 2 offices. If you go back up to the lobby, and I said you make that right, when you come to the front door, you make that right, then you go into the library. And in the library, you have a couple offices, and then, of course, reading tables, bookshelves. And then again, this is a concept of what it would look like if it were furnished with furniture. This is a concept that could be utilized to furnish the building. So that's what the building looks like on the interior. If you go to the next slide, please. And that's going to be the civil slide. And that slide's going to show you the actual orientation of the. Oh, okay. I'll go to this one. This one here is those are key milestones. So in the key milestones, I mentioned earlier that when I was here back on December 9th, I told you we were waiting for the design documents to come. We received them. But there are other milestones now that we need to be cognizant of and make sure that we track and stay abreast of, because now we've gone through the design phase, now we're getting to the implementation phase, right? So you got about a good 6 months to be able to put this building together, right? So if you look at some of these key milestones, the first one that we show there is, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. The first one that we show there is GMP submittal to the city. And the GMP is the guaranteed maximum price. And that's the beauty of having this design build contractor, because he's had the responsibility and authority to design it and build it. So they've been working this time collaboratively, coming up with the design, but once they get to like 30%, 60%, 90% complete, they're sharing this information with the contractor. And the contractor is pricing it. The contractor is looking at the schedule, looking at whether or not it can be built in the manner in which it's being designed. So they're having all of those discussions. So it culminates and finalizes in this guaranteed maximum price. So the city's going to receive on or about February the 19th, going to receive a guaranteed maximum price from Bodum Construction. And what that is going to include is their costs for being able to construct this building as designed. And that GMP has to be for $3.2 million or less, right? Because those are the monies that have been allocated for them to do the construction. So once that comes in, there's going to be discussion between city staff. It'll be shared with the commission. But once agreement is reached, then the next milestone you see there is the issue of a notice to proceed to Bodum. And that notice to proceed says that you got the green light to go ahead and start the construction. Once they receive that notice to proceed, then they mobilize and they start with their site prep. And that milestone is shown for the early part of March. That's when all the work, the physical work, begins. That's when you begin to see evidence of the fruits of their labor over all of this time that's been spent thus far. So from March the 2nd until October the 1st, which is the substantial completion date, that's the date when the city can take occupancy. So everything has to be done between that March and October date in order to get to the finish line so the city can take occupancy of the building. In between that mobilization site prep 3-2, other milestones that we're going to be looking at is building dry-in. Means that's about 50% complete. That means the windows are in, the doors are in, the roof is on it. It's dried in, water can't get in. That represents about a 50% milestone. The other milestone that we show there is the finishes start, meaning that all the interior finishes and stuff, the drywall, the flooring, all of the finishes that complete the building, those start on or around August the 5th. At that stage, we'll be about 75% complete. So it's a fast schedule. And the other thing that we don't show here is that all monies must be spent by, and invoices in by October 31st. Let me say that one again. right? So everybody here, I want everybody to hear that one. All monies have to be spent and invoices in to Florida Commerce by 10/31/26.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's where we are.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the commission? Any at all?
No, I have none.
All right. I don't think this is actionable. This is just the information.
Information.
Okay, great. Do
Correct.
you have any comments, City Manager?
No, he covered everything very well. One thing we discussed was signage, getting a sign out there, construction coming, something to that effect. So that's a conversation that he's going to have with the company to see if they can comply. If not, we'll look at other options to be able to let the public know what's coming.
And since we spoke, sir, I did speak with him.
Okay.
And what he said, and what he said was he'd get back with me.
Okay.
But the reason he said he'd get back with me is because the agreed upon guaranteed maximum price, that's when we have the contract to proceed with construction, right? So what we're asking him to do is to go ahead and put a sign in. It's minimal cost, right? It's included in your GMP number anyway. So just advance that for the city so we can identify the site. So it's not a significant cost or anything like that. So he's going to talk to his the owner, and then they're going to get back. So I did respond to that.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to item K02, committee appointments discussion. I know I'm listed here, and one of the things that I brought to the city manager's attention, I believe the ordinance is written specifically with the P&Z board appointments that, and please give clarity that every year the current board would have appointments to the P&Z board, whether that's a reappointment of who's there or otherwise. Could you shed light or clarity regarding?
That's my understanding, but I don't know if the city attorney has any input on that, additional input, but that's my understanding.
I don't have input on things that I don't really have any real notice of, so not at this time.
Okay. If we can get together and make sure that we're on the same page.
Sure.
Okay. Let's move forward. A new business.
I would like to, sir.
Oh, please.
I would like to have, while we're talking about appointments to committees and stuff, I think it's time I step down from the Oak Regional Water Co-op.
Okay.
And so we'll need an elected official to take it over.
Okay, great. If we can add that for our discussion.
Sure.
Thank you for.
You'll need to appoint somebody to the Ridge League of Cities, I believe, also.
Okay. Do we need to do that tonight, or can that be for our next scheduled meeting?
Yeah, we really kind of need to do that one tonight.
Okay. Kinda. For sure.
We need to do it tonight.
Okay, all right. You're leaving some room. Okay, so what you stated is that we need an appointment to the Ridge League of Cities, correct? Okay. Do you have any further information regarding?
No, sir.
Okay, who's currently serving?
Is that possible?
Former Commissioner
Scale. Okay.
Sal.
Okay, and this is one appointment, one board member.
Yes.
Great. Okay, so what is the will of the commission?
Well, I move to appoint Commissioner Lott. Welcome to the board.
Thank you for looking that way.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Great. Now for discussion, Commissioner Lott, do you have any thoughts?
How often is this something I have to do something? Or just because it's work related?
So it's not very often, but the clerk will get with you on all of those extra responsibilities.
Okay, just so I can not get fired from the real job.
You can sit depending on the schedule.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Wonderful. We'll get with Commissioner Lott. Yes, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, Thank you, Commissioner Locke. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's it.
And city manager will get together regarding. Okay. Report of the mayor.
Well, is it your intent to leave now, or were you going to remain until someone is appointed?
Well, I thought if I get appointed tonight, I'm gone.
Okay, so just for clarity, so you all can hear. So Commissioner Watts, are you? Thank you, thank you. Let's wait. Let's table that and for further discussion. Okay. Item M, report of the mayor. I don't necessarily have a report. I just want to remind us. I know we discussed the property on Broadway and any other property. The city is not in the real estate business. Okay, I can't say that enough. I know through past management, the city has gotten deeply involved in real estate in ways that we should not have, and some of that is going to eat us in the butt. So we have, and excuse my vernacular, we have to be really intentional. I strongly suggest that we be really intentional and aware that the city is not in the real estate business. We have properties right now that need addressing. And so I just want to share that. Moving forward to item N, report of the city manager. I won't read all the points. You just, you go on down.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
And as you mentioned, there's several items there. Some of them that are attachments, and some of them are topics that I like us to be aware of and discuss. But to jump in, I'd like to start with the Plant Moran report. And we have a representative for Plant Moran that is on our virtual link. So he has a presentation that he wants to provide us.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm going to share my screen as well. So let me know when that is up on the board for everyone to see.
Pause 1 second. Is there a way to connect our system with what's being shown here on the laptop?
Yeah, we can. If you'll give us one moment, we can connect it so the presentation can come up. It just may take about 60 seconds.
Okay. Well, I don't want to call a recess, but if we can, I'm
happy to give a background just of who we are.
Okay,
who
great.
I am,
Thank
and
you.
can go through that. So thank you for having me. My name is Eric Conforti. I am a principal in Plant Moran's forensic accounting practice. Specifically, I lead our public sector practice. I've been with the firm about 18 years, doing nothing but forensic investigations for the last 16 of those years. So 100% of our group's time is spent doing fraud prevention work and fraud investigation work. So we're not doing tax returns. We're not even doing audits. Our work is very specific and targeted. Our firm, we are a top 15 size CPA consulting firm. We have a number of clients in Florida, and we were brought in to assist with a number of items. So what I want to go through today is last week on the 3rd, we provided the city with what we deem the final draft report. It's open for any suggestions or requests by the city for clarification and sort of a final proofread. But outside of that, everything is substantively complete. So it really is the final report, but for any of those final tweaks. I did lose my video. I just want to confirm. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And are you able to see the screen now?
Yes, we're able to. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So just real quickly about our firm, because I think a couple of these intro points might help clear up some questions or even prevent questions down the road. One thing that's really unique about our firm compared to other professional services firms is we don't operate in individual silos by service line or by office, whereby we're competing with each other, which you may or may not know is pretty common, where firms are actually competing with other offices. We all kind of roll into one bucket. We call ourselves the one firm, And so what that means is while I am an expert at forensic investigations, I also had experts at BS&A, experts at utility billing, where their job is just utility billing consulting, experts in governmental operations, and folks like that we can pull onto our investigations to make sure that not just from a forensic and a data standpoint, but we're also leveraging the industry knowledge that our firm has on our engagements. And we are pretty unique when it comes to that, and we certainly leverage that on our jobs. So with that experience, the firm has about 500 governmental clients, and we also have about 1,000 energy-related clients. And in those governmental clients are utility authorities, every level of government, including Board of Water and Lights and water districts and all of the utility authorities and processes that come along with even local municipalities, such as yourself. Specifically, within the forensic side, we have done a number of utility billing related schemes. In the past 10 years or past 5 years, we've done at least 10. I stopped counting just because I thought that was a good representative example. And just to give you an example of kind of our expertise in this area, we have even presented at the BS&A annual users conference of how to find utility billing fraud within your utility billing system. So we trained all your treasurers and finance directors on what anomalies to look for that are indicative of utility billing fraud, specifically using BS&A. And that little clip is just an excerpt from an article of a job we worked on. Many of our jobs in the past few years have resulted in criminal convictions. So that's just to give you a little background on who you had doing this job, because the way we were brought about, I think there was a pretty significant change in most of the leadership throughout our scope. And so, even all of you as commissioners may or may not have been aware of just who we were and why we were selected for this project. So what was the project? And I think, I know the report was released to the public, which I think was done with the intent of transparency, but sometimes when folks who don't understand the intent of the report read it, they may misconstrue what the findings are. And so I thought this would help just convey what were we hired to do. So the first task was just to gather information. So specifically, we got access to BS&A, exported data from there. We got access to select employee email accounts. We got access to your electric metering system, Adaptive. And then we also had a handful of work papers that the city had compiled themselves. Next, we did data analytics. And data analytics, and this is a big misconception, which I have multiple slides just to clear this up. Analytics are designed to identify anomalies that you then research further, or we recommend for further research. Analytics on their own, do not indicate a problem. You just use analytics to get from a wealth of information down to a targeted population of information so that it's actually a manageable task to go and look at those anomalies for reasonableness. Although within our analysis, we also were tasked with a couple detailed analyses, specifically what I'll just refer to as the true analysis. And if you have the report, you have the more specifics of what that relates to. And then the commercial underbilling. And with those, we did more forensic procedures where we looked through emails, background research, interviews, etc., close to about 80 to 100 hours of work on these analytics and detailed analyses. So what did that mean in simple terms? I thought it would help just to boil down, really what the ask was. It was, we have 2 suspected billing issues. We have something going on with this account, and then we believe we had some commercial underbilling. Can you get the details and just give us a more clear picture of what was going on with those? And then can you just scrub our data and identify if there's anything else that we should look at, we being the city? Is there anything else that just jumps out, given our expertise, that's worth the city taking a look? What wasn't part of our scope was to then go take a look on some of those analytics. We were just to use the tests that we know and think were appropriate based on the other billing anomalies and say, here are other transactions that you may want to consider researching further. We weren't to do that research. And so I want to be very clear, and this is, for the city's benefit as well as any user of our report. While the report is intended for the city, we understand now that it's released publicly, others may read it. A data anomaly does not mean fraud. And if there's any indication or insinuation that because we flagged a transaction or a customer or some sort of reduction, anything like that, to insinuate that that means that person did something wrong or even the city did something wrong with that transaction, it's an absolutely incorrect mischaracterization of what that means. Our work product was, here is data that is higher risk than the rest. We recommend you go and look into this and decide whether this is problematic or not. So I just want to set that tone up front very clearly of what the report really says, because I know there may have been some misunderstandings and uses of our report so far. So just to recap the timeline, we had some initial discussions with the city of just potential issues and what we might help do. By October, we got into contract discussions. During this, we strongly encouraged that we were hired through legal counsel. I would say about 95% of our public sector work is through legal counsel. It is very rare that we're not. For a lot of reasons of, there's information in our report that has to be in our report. We don't make redactions. We can't make redactions. And so that allows an avenue for the city to then make the necessary redactions of maybe names or accounts that could be misconstrued as being problematic when they're not. But ultimately, this was the way we were engaged, was through the former interim city manager, which isn't problematic. It's just, it isn't how we normally structure these. From there, we, had to work with your IT managed service provider. They were helpful, but it still took a while to get access to your systems. I just want to give a plug for, I've been listening into the whole meeting, to the cloud-based BSNA system. It probably would have saved us 10 to 20 hours of work had you have had the cloud. And so, as you think of any other third parties that may need access to your data, it's the same there, because you don't have to worry about the same type of IT external requirements and logins to your remote desktops. So I'll just, for what that's worth off topic, it would have saved us work had you have been on the cloud as well. So there's another potential cost savings down the road of having that. We got emails in the end of November. We did some more interviews and some analysis throughout December, got access to another one of your systems. And then really that December, January is when we did all of our work. So it was, for an engagement like this, it was a fairly rapid timeline. I know when there are potential issues, nothing feels rapid. But really for the scope of work that we completed, it was a fairly rapid timeline. And we ultimately issued a preliminary memo for the last council meeting, and then this final draft report last week for this meeting. And so that brings us to today, where we're going through those results. Just to recap kind of the investment, the big picture timeline items, we started in October, we're now February, so it's about 3.5 months. Our contract was not to exceed $25,000 without written approval. So it wasn't really a not to exceed. However, we treated it that way. Even though we invested far more funds, we never came back, and we don't intend to come back and ask you for extra money. It's just not the way we do things. And so, in essence, as you're looking at this, and hopefully you feel that there was a lot of work invested, because there was. We essentially invested twice the amount of work that we initially agreed to. So I'm going to stop there real quick. I'm about to get into the results, but I just want to make sure that I don't have any questions on the engagement lead up and scope, and check that I'm coming through clearly and everything is following along.
No questions. You can continue.
Perfect. I apologize. I can't see any of you anymore, so I don't have faces or any reaction to know that you're following.
We're
so.
with you. All right.
So just diving into some of the results, when we looked into the true activity, which again involved significant email review, significant background research, we went through audit trails within the system, both systems actually looked at a lot of different reports. What we ultimately found is that we'll just refer to her as Holder. She was aware of the issue as early as April of 2025, but did not work to correct it until June of 2025. Essentially, the BSNA system was not charging for one of the electrical charge codes. However, your metering system was capturing the actual usage. So the meter was running and properly accounting for the usage, but it was never making it into a bill. And so what we were looking to identify was there an intent? Was there a problematic reason that it was happening? And, long story short, there's more in the report. We didn't find anything to indicate that. It looked like, while she knew of it, it looked like it was on Do Not Bill, which can force the usage to zero in BSNA. We didn't find any evidence that there was collusion or conspiring. And the account was corrected in June, paid within a week of the corrected bill, so paid immediately. And we have formal recommendations at the back, but our plain English recommendation of this situation is look forward, not backwards. And that's really where we ended up with this analysis. The next item was the commercial underbilling. So ultimately what happened was there was a very specific rate code that was not adjusted in BSNA for about 3 years. It was discovered by your auditors, which is fantastic that the auditors found that, because we didn't see anything that would have caught this going forward but for your auditors. So there really was for lack of better words, a nice save by your auditors in spotting this. And once they reported that to the city, though, we did find that the city took action. They hired an outside consultant to look at what was the impact of this losses. The losses resulted in about $120,000 of lost revenue. In our report, we lay out we provide the emails that the consultant had provided to the city with their work papers of specifically which commercial accounts were underbilled and by how much. So you have that information. I don't know what the city's ultimate conclusion or commission's ultimate conclusion was as far as trying to recover these funds or not. But as far as how this happened, Holder took accountability, acknowledged it was an error, it was corrected, and again, there doesn't seem to be anything else looking backwards at. I think you have the full transparent view into what happened. The only unresolved item is whether or not you want to seek recovery of those funds. And then going forward, as we have recommendations at the end, which really should be the focus of this, is how do you come out of this better? There's some extra reconciliations, some user access reviews, things like that you can put in place to reduce the risk that this happens again. So those were the two items that we really dove into deep. And then again, we have the analytics, which was just us trying to help you come to a manageable population of transactions to look at, to make sure that these errors weren't more widespread or that there wasn't problematic activity outside of these errors. And so we did 4 different analytics. I don't intend to walk analytic by analytic with the detailed accounts. Those are in the report. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer those and walk through those. I don't think that's as relevant, especially to the non-accountant or BSNA user who is actually going to go and look at those transactions to see if they're reasonable. But just as an example, we looked at negative bill adjustments and sort of stratified those to ones that looked more unusual than others. There are a lot of reasons a legitimate negative bill adjustment could be. And so what that really says is if I owed $20 left on my utility bill, someone went in and manually reduced that down to zero. So that's what a negative bill adjustment is. It's applying a negative amount to that bill to reduce the amount then owed after that adjustment. There's a lot of legitimate reasons this could occur. It could be the wrong amount was typed in the meter. Could be a misread on the meter. It could just be a billing error. Could be if there are payment plan options, maybe it's we're capturing one of those. There's all kinds of reasons, and each are specific to customers and things that were fall kind of within your city policy. However, we have also found schemes where employees use that process to divert funds, where if a customer comes in and say they pay with $100 cash, I could pocket that money and then just use a negative bill adjustment to reduce their account from 100 to 0. And now I can keep that cash and they never get a bill saying they didn't pay. And so that's the reason we flag this. Is it doesn't mean the adjustments are problematic, but in the universe of data for you to look at, these are the ones that we would recommend you take a look at to make sure that they are legitimate. And that's really the same tone for the 4 different analytics we did, which we customized based on the errors that you did have with those first 2 detailed situations that we dove into. So I'll stop there one more time just to see if there's any questions on those results before we get into what we really think is the important part for the city, and that's how do you do better coming out of this going forward.
Do we have any questions at all? Okay, so you can continue. Thank you, Eric.
Okay. And so these are wordy, and I apologize, I don't like wordy slides, but these are taken directly from our report, which is the reason why we have these in here. I wanted to stay consistent. 3 of the 5 recommendations really relate to the same overall theme of just enhancing your controls, enhancing your reconciliation, and the strengthening your process from a risk reduction standpoint. And so, and I'm also aware, I should note, that coming out of this, even before we provided some of these recommendations, we know that the current folks at the city have already implemented some of these because they identified some of these, as a learning experience of some of the things that happen. So while some of these are recommendations, that some of them are already have been implemented and are, making you operate better going forward. So we strongly recommend regular reconciliations between your metering systems and BSNA. Your current process, it's automated to the extent that the software systems create the reports for you, but then there is a manual movement between the systems, and you can go in those reports and adjust the data. And so there's just that potential for either human error or intentional manipulation that without reconciling the systems together on a periodic basis, you wouldn't have a way to catch that problem. With the meter rollover procedures, these may be operating correctly. What we learned, though, in our understanding of it is that there are a lot of different variances and reasons for why these occur and at different amounts. And it has to do with just the amounts getting too large within BSNA. And we just want to make sure that the city understands why and how these work and maybe document the process. As you know, you've had quite a bit of turnover in these departments, and you lose a lot of institutional knowledge when this happens. And so without having these processes documented, some of the more nuanced, they only happen for a handful of accounts or certain types of accounts. Those can get lost of exactly how we do it at the city or why. And so we're not saying this is performed incorrectly, but we do recommend that it's the documentation and how it's performed is exists so that everyone has that available to them. In that same vein, given the turnover, it's always good to just consider training. Make sure that the new employees coming in have a way to inherit the institutional knowledge from the former employees, whether through formal training or having processes documented so they can review those. It's just always a good idea to ensure that things are smooth through transitions. This is a big one. Strengthen the controls over the meter reading data and BSNA. There are reasons that people need the ability to modify readings in their day-to-day jobs, but there are also certain profiles or certain jobs that don't need certain authorities within BSNA. And hearing that you're moving to the cloud system, that's a fantastic time to do a self-reflection and a review of your user access log and figure out who has what authority and why, and do they need it? And if not, shut it off in the new system. And the IT controls are always your strongest controls because they're relying on the system versus a person. So we strongly encourage that you take a good look at that as you transition systems, and make sure just if somebody doesn't need something, don't give it to them. And then the last part, and I think you'll notice a theme here because we wanted to be very clear about this, is we do recommend you as a city does research some of the transactions we flagged. You don't need to look at all of them because by nature the analytics will have a lot of false positives, and there's still some of the populations are still larger. We did try to stratify and point out which ones were of more importance, or that we would, if we were doing it, we would recommend, and kind of how we would approach it for the city to help provide a roadmap in the report. But we do recommend you look at some of them. They are anomalies. That doesn't mean they're wrong, but if you're going to spend some time tracking this down, that's what we would look at. So we would recommend you look at some of those. So that's really the end of the presentation, but I'm happy to answer questions and kind of go through anything that you have.
Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you for your thoroughness. Do we have any questions of the commission? None? Okay.
I do not.
Commissioner Locke? None. Okay. No questions.
Okay. Thank you again for letting me come and speak and do this virtually. I have some sick children at home, so that made that much more convenient. So I appreciate it again.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to provide some quick commentary.
Okay.
I think there has been some misunderstandings of the information as he talked about. And so I want to quickly provide some footnotes for those misunderstandings. The term negative is not meant to indicate good or bad. I think another term that could have been used, and we talked about this, is credits. Anytime you see credits to a bill, that's a potential opportunity for theft to have occurred, and that's an area that you want to be aware of. I think some people took the word negative and ran with that to mean that this was an indication that something was bad. And that's not what the intent was. They were trying to highlight, here are some areas that you want to look at. Another, I think, that people took and ran with was this idea that we as a utility believe that when we provide a meter, that we provide, in my other communities, we called it ready to serve. So if you've got a meter there, you're ready to get service. Doesn't mean that you're going to get service or that you elect to get service, but that meter is there. So the lag required for you to get service isn't like make a phone call, order it, 3 days later or 5 days later it shows up. That meter is there and it's ready to provide you with service. And anytime that meter is there ready to provide you with service, we charge a base rate. Okay, so there may be zero usage on that meter, but you're still getting charged a base rate because that meter is there. So I've seen it said that that the city wasn't charging for months and months and months because if you look at the report, there were times when there was zero usage. Well, even though there was zero usage, they were still paying because the meter was there a base rate. And so oftentimes you would have zero usage when somebody goes on vacation. They shut the breaker off, they go on vacation, they're not getting any energy, there's no usage, but they're still, because the meter's still there, paying the monthly charge, the ready to serve charge. So I don't want people to say because they saw zero usage, that means that the city wasn't billing them and people were getting electricity for free for months or years. So I think that's a misunderstanding of the way that billing works and the decision by the commission to charge a base rate or a ready to serve rate. So I just wanted to clear that up so there isn't that perception that the city wasn't doing what it needed to be doing.
Thank you, City Manager. Do we have any comments regarding that? Anyone on the commission?
No.
Okay, great. Before we move on to the next item, I just want to check in with you all. I know we've been sitting for over 3 hours. Is there any need of a bathroom break or everybody's good?
I'm good.
Okay, you're good. All right, let's keep on moving. We'll move on to the next item.
So I'm going to actually wrap this up fairly quickly because I know that everybody's been sitting, and just quickly touch on the grants report that was included in the packet. It's a spreadsheet. There is a request by the commission that we go in and nail down where the money is. And so this is a breakdown of the grants as we know it now. I've indicated that this is a draft because we're still in the process of researching it, but this is what we know as of now, the grants that we have and what the status is of those grants. And in particular, that section at the bottom is the $5 million CDBG COVID-related grant funding and how that was broken down. So some parts of that grant are complicated because we have projects that are receiving funding from 3 different sources, from RIF, rural infrastructure, from CDBG, CDBG CV, which is coronavirus, and then the community CDBG CR, which is community revitalization. Okay, and so we have projects that are getting funding from these 3, so it's a little complicated to be able to track it down and find it. But kudos again to staff to look into it and to be able to do the research to be able to clarify how much money was being spent for what and why. So that spreadsheet is there so that you can take a look at it, and the community, if they have questions, please come into City Hall, make the phone calls, but I'm not going to go through item by item. Also, new item, the monthly pay register. So you'll see in your packet, there's a list of the payment expenditures that the city engages in for the previous month. And so this is my commitment to provide more transparency to the city and to the commission so that you see what the money is being spent. And so the list that you have in there is any expenditures over $500. Okay? And so again, here's an item for information. If you have questions, please feel free to give me a call or stop in, or during what I'd like to do as our monthly briefings. If you have questions, I can brief the commission on it, or if the community has questions, you can come in and ask questions, and we'd be happy to walk through it. But at least you have the information to be able to ask the questions. The next item on there, rules of conduct. We've had that conversation, so it's really up to the commission at this point whether or not you want to make a motion or move on that, or if you want to have a workshop to be able to discuss that. And the last 2 items, authorization to negotiate agreement with the plaza. That is an item I think we should pull back and do some additional research on it until we're ready to be able to have a more informed and intelligent conversation about that. And then the last item, a policy concerning individual commissioners. So that was listed there more for the reason, I say the last item, but the second to last item, just to highlight that we don't have a policy on how that is handled. And because we don't have a policy on it, I can say that in other communities where I worked, there was a budget item for each commissioner to do types of outreach activities. There was actually a budget item for that. And so there was a policy based on that budget item and how commissioners went about either having forums or those types of things to engage with the constituents. It is not intended by me having it on there to say that you don't have a right to talk to any of your constituents. That's not, it was just to put it on there so to be mindful that we don't have one yet. And there's, I mean, and this again is the pleasure of the commission, you might want to address it by in the next budget, making sure that each commissioner has a budgetary item for doing that type of work. We don't currently have that. Or you might want to generate or create a policy around it.
Well, we did have one at one time, by different wording.
Okay.
It was, and I think it was, I don't know the exact dollar amount, it might have been $5,000 or something where each commissioner could bring forward a project in their district to initiate.
Yes. And I was briefed of something similar maybe 4 years ago, and the amount that was shared with me at that time was $10,000. Of course, I wasn't serving at that time, but that's a big.
Sure.
Yes.
And my friend, who's the manager in Daytona Beach, they have 50,000 for each of their commissioners.
Got a few more people.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
But what I do want to say in wrapping this up is that I, as the city manager, am a resource to each and every one of you. All of you are my bosses, and each and every one of you should take advantage of me as a resource to assist you in reaching out to the community or constituents or engagement. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm here. But unless it is a city function, we don't mandate that our staff be present. So there were some misunderstandings about that. So we're not paying for overtime. We're not doing those types of things, but I am, as a city manager, it is a lifestyle. It's not a job. So I am that resource which is around the clock. And then the last item is I want to highlight the fact that we are moving eventually to a new URL. We used to have cityoffortmeade.com. Okay, unfortunately, we don't have cityoffortmeade.com anymore. And so as a stopgap measure, we quickly went to cityoffortmeade.org. And so that was an intermediate measure to be able to communicate.
I'm sorry, city manager.
Yes.
That's not what's listed. Can you tell me what it is again?
Yes. So the new one that we're going to ultimately go to in a more measured and phased approach is fortmeadefl.gov, which is what's listed there. So I just wanted to put the word out there that eventually we'll be moving to that. We've targeted March 1st as the date that we will to do that switch over. But in the interim, please use the .org, cityoffortmeade.org. But that's just the intermediate stuff. I again commend staff for the work that they did and jumping in and quick realization of what was happening with our .com. Being able to acquire the .org in short order so that we could at least have communication, people could communicate with us and us out, and then working to acquire the .gov. And I think the best practice standard for a city organization is to either have the .gov or .us. And my preference is to always a .gov because that's more of a city organization rather than a federal or state organization. So I'm glad that we have fortmeadefl.gov so that nobody confuses us with Fort Meade in Maryland, right? We got FL or the Fort Meade out in Arizona. So,
South Dakota.
Yeah, there's one in South Dakota too. Yes. So I don't want to slight South Dakota, but yeah. So that's one other thing is the staff has begun to, at my request, provide weekly reports of all the different departments. So I've been compiling those weekly reports into a monthly report so that we're on top of everything that's going on within the city. I would like to eventually, now that we're getting into the mode or ritual of doing the weekly reports, provide back to the commission a monthly report that basically gathers all those weekly reports together so that you have a sense of what's going on within each of the departments on a monthly basis. Now, if you want information more frequently than that, Then every Friday, I get that report from my departments, and I can provide that on a case-by-case basis if you would like to have it.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone on the commission who'd like to comment on any of those items 1 through 7?
No.
I would like to say that I know the community's had a lot of city managers. Mr. Bell has been fantastic. He's been transparent, responsive. I really appreciate all the work that he's put into it. He was 6'7" when he got here, and
my kids would love you.
But we're grinding him down. I just there's probably not a place for me to say that, but I want to say that at the end of his report.
Absolutely. Thank you. Vice Mayor McCutcheon, anything on 1 through 7?
1 through 7.
Yes. Any questions, thoughts?
No questions.
No questions. Commissioner Lott?
Oh, I have lots of questions
Okay.
about 4.
Okay. All right.
So I want to know, are we going to do a workshop on that, or what's the plan? Because that is, we need, there problems in that.
Okay. Commissioner Watts? Thoughts?
I'd like a workshop on that item also.
Okay, great. I know that I asked for this to exist, as we have not had one, to my knowledge, in prior years. In many municipalities, they are governed by a set of rules and procedures. And as we know, the mayor leads the meeting. And so I asked that this document exists. It is not, a workshop is not required and is often not instituted, but whatever the will of the commission is what it will be. My ask was that it would be presented tonight in ordinance form so that we could have rules and procedures of how we govern our meetings. Much of the language is a part of Robert's rules of how to run meetings. And so I wanted to give that context as we've had conversation about it.
Sure.
Please.
I was just going to say that you, the mayor, have apologized repeatedly for the errors that you've encountered with the packages. We are going to get better. So although I'm thankful for the fact that you are owning it as the mayor, it's ultimately the city manager that's responsible for making sure that you don't have these anomalies come out in reports. And we're in week 6 of me coming on board, and staff is learning, staff is adjusting. We got many new staff members. That's not an excuse, but it's an explanation. But we will get better on this.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Mayor, if I may. Attorney Smith, didn't you provide us, it wasn't a handbook or anything like that. It was prior to the change of the commission for this year. But didn't you provide us previously in memo form the Roberts Rules and Parliamentary Procedure?
So I believe there was a memo that was sent out on this very issue and concern about the commission not having adopted anything formally. I believe at the time, Melissa Cannon was the deputy clerk, and she was saying that there had not been anything adopted because it came up on 2 occasions actually that there were some rules that governed your meeting and that simply wasn't there. So I did send out a memo on the commission looking to adopt some form of rules that would govern the procedure so that everybody's on the same page. And I believe some members from the audience even came up at that time and stated what they felt things should be. And I believe it may have been an individual who said that he actually trained the commission on the rules of parliament and some things of that nature. So that was where that came from. So that everybody was operating up under the same understanding of rules.
Great. So Commissioner Lott, question?
I would have to, I'm sorry, just to add up, I would have to send that, I could find that memo and I would have to send that back to the 2 new commissioners as well, because you wouldn't have seen that.
Okay.
I was asking because I just thought I remembered it being presented to us before. And you did say it was just a suggestion if we wanted to create.
Yeah, so it's not a requirement that you guys have it. You've been operating under what I would call is general rules of parliament and common sense. That's what you've been kind of operating up under. But if you wanted to formalize it, you certainly could, but there is no requirement to formalize it.
Great. So my ask is that we will formalize what we have here in form of resolution, and in points of discussion, be able to discuss whatever concerns any commissioner has regarding what's listed in the rules of conduct or
Okay.
procedure.
Just to clarify, when you initially spoke, you said you wanted it done by ordinance, but you just stated. by
Sorry,
resolution.
my apologies.
So you want the city manager to have a resolution on adopting formal rules to come up before the commission. So that can be done on the March agenda.
Okay.
But just so we're clear on my concerns on this, I can understand Robert's Rules of Order, but there are items in here that go way beyond that. They're changing the scope of the position of mayor. They're changing comments that commissioners can only have one comment on an item. I think some of these are just, they're a little beyond the scope of a rule of concerning making sure everybody's doing the proper thing.
Some of them are out of the reach of commission manager form of government. This is not a strong mayor of government.
No. And nothing should suggest that, but.
Yes, the mayor, where it's talking about the mayor has to consult to approve the agenda. The mayor can adjourn a meeting. I know it's been a long time since I took Mr. Spate's FFA class, but adjournments had to be a motion. You and the city attorney can correct me.
The mayor has no more authority than any commissioner over here, other than being the mayor, and it's a figurehead position.
Wonderful. So let's do this. Can we have the time so that they can address their concerns with you directly, and then we will bring this before the commission at the next scheduled meeting? Yes. Okay. Great. The other thing that I want to address, not in a for or against, but I want to be clear again regarding this commission chambers. Whatever the commission decides, we cannot make the residents be the recipient of a lack of planning, poor planning on the part of city government. So we can't continue to have a situation where we have a weighted agenda and we have not made the preparations for the community to have seats. We cannot have women in our community sitting on the floor. We cannot have people sitting in the hallways and standing in the hallways and standing outside. We are better than that. We are better than that. And just because there's been a lack of planning in this building and there's only 40 seats, we can't keep saying to the residents, I'm sorry, or make them stand in the hallway and come sign in and then we'll call their name. We are better than that. And we're going to do better than that. Okay. So whether that be a building on Broadway or another location, when we know we have this many items on the agenda, you know, because we're talking about an agreement for city meetings, we have to find and have an alternate location. And I'm going to apologize again. I'm not going to give a speech about accountability and not apologize. I am sorry that this has happened again, and it is solvable. We're not talking about, curing cancer or, solving homelessness. We can fix this. We can fix this.
Let me respond to that. We can certainly fix it, but I believe from a legal standpoint, you have a lot of things at play. You have liability issues. You have issues with PRM that you haven't talked about. You haven't talked about those issues with the risk management. In a commission, not a commission meeting, in an agenda review meeting, all of this was brought up to the city manager. I'm willing to talk to you. I believe Ms. Nelson is willing to talk about those issues as well. We even have fire code items that we have to look at before this city as a commission decides that you're going to move this meeting anywhere else. I think that what you're talking about is very commendable. I wholeheartedly agree with you. I'm not up here to give you my opinion as far as what I feel from my heart, but I am going to tell you that my heart is always in the right place. So I certainly agree with what you're saying, but I am going to caution this commission on acting and entering into agreements with any other facility other than what we have approved before running it through all of the measures with risk management, PRM, and your fire chief, because there were some things that were brought up in that meeting that the city manager should be making the commission aware of. And I don't think that it warrants further discussion at this point in time. because I think it is solvable, but they are issues that this city cannot negate away because of liability.
And I hear that, and those are the issues that I want addressed so that they can be solved, right? It's whatever those issues are, whatever the legal concerns are, I want to make sure that we address them so that at our next scheduled meeting, I'm not looking at residents sitting on the floor in the hallways. Okay?
So I'm not sure if you were saying something as well about.
He was asking about the smell smoke. I'm
Okay.
concerned that the building is getting smoky.
Smoky.
Okay, city manager.
One last thing. This was a very long agenda, and thank you so much for sitting through it and working through it. We had some items that we absolutely had to get addressed now, or we were in danger of losing money or not spending on time, and so we had to get those items executed quickly. And so putting them off to a special meeting or to next month would have put us in greater danger of losing grant funding that we had. So thank you very much for the work that you did in sitting through this long agenda. I apologize that I won't bring you long agendas like that in the future, but I wanted to make sure that, yes, we did.
Yeah, no promises.
Never know.
No promises.
Right.
Okay, thank you, city manager. Report, item O, report of city attorney.
Yes. So I just want to be clear that I don't supervise staff, and I work with the city manager, and I kind of coordinate that with any legal items that have to come up for review. In order for me to effectively give you a legal review, I have to have things in a timely manner. And so getting agendas with 4 or 5 minutes to review, or getting agendas with items on them that I have never seen before, is not a best practice. I know I work closely with the clerk, and if the clerk is requesting items from individuals and she's not getting them, the clerk also does not have the ability to direct staff. So because the clerk can't direct staff, the only other alternative would be for the clerk to pull something from an agenda. The clerk or I do not possess the ability to pull something from the agenda. If a person comes and they want to present, the clerk would need notice of that so that she can have that ready and available for them. So some of the issues to which you were speaking about, they're not things that were solvable by necessarily the clerk or myself. I do, however, want to take full responsibility for putting Commissioner Matthew Taylor's name as Michael Taylor in a few things. I apologize. I'm human. I'm without error, but that's why we have things that are called scrivener's error, and they don't invalidate the validity of what we have there. I'm not used to calling commissioners by their first name. So I try to respect to call them by their last name. I like to own every single mistake that I make. I like to put that on the record. So that was a mistake on my part. It should not have happened. I will work to do better because I strive for excellence. But mistakes are going to happen as long as I am human. I'm not AI. So
thank you.
That's going to happen.
Okay. P, future agenda items of the commissioner, if any. Commissioner Taylor? Any future agenda items?
No.
Vice Mayor McCutcheon?
I don't have any.
Commissioner Lott?
Not at this time.
Okay, and Commissioner Watson. Okay, great. Moving on to the next item, Q, upcoming meeting dates. February 19th, 2026, the CRA community meeting at 5 p.m. at the Plaza 202 West Broadway. Item 2, March 10th, 2026, is a pension board meeting at 5 p.m. Item 03, March 10th, CRA meeting at 5:30 p.m. And same day, March 10th, 2026, a regular city commission meeting at 6 p.m., which will have a former mayor and past mayor's commemoration plaque. Fifth item, April 14th, 2026, is a regular commission meeting at 6 p.m. Item R, for the good of the order, commissioner comments. Commissioner Taylor, any?
Not any more than what I already said.
Okay. Vice Mayor McCutcheon?
Just want to remind the community that on the last Saturday, I think it's the 28th, the Dr. MLK committee will be having their annual parade and festivities here in town.
Okay, great. Commissioner Lott?
They're not here, but I'd like to recognize the basketball team, the high school varsity basketball team just won the championship.
District.
The
District
whole
champs.
district championship. They only lost one game the whole season.
Boys.
Okay. And I'd like for the city to be able to acknowledge that it's a historic win. I think I saw something that said that it hadn't happened since 2009,
Correct.
or possibly before. Okay.
They're still undefeated the last game I went to, right?
Yes, yeah, they lost. I think the one after. All right. Commissioner Watts. Any-
I'm good.
Okay, great. At adjournment, do we have a motion?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Sorry. Let's slow it down. I saw a hand. I'm sorry.
May I make a couple comments real quick?
Regarding.
Regarding us moving and getting this launched. In essence, when Attorney Smith was talking
I'm
about-
sorry. Can you come to the podium?
Real quick. James Randolph, Tampa Bay Business Investment Corp. My comment is, Attorney Smith made a comment regarding liability. One of the things I'm going to need when we launch this program, is a space conducive to a classroom. So is that available?
Great. Can you get with city staff about that, and then you all can work in conjunction?
That's fine.
Okay,
That's
great.
fine.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem.
Appreciate it. So we have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, have a great night.
What you're smelling right now are two wildfires. One towards the city, one south. There's nothing to be concerned about.